It is 10 a.m. Good morning, broadcasting live from the Governor's Club on 104.5 The Zone. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Nico Iamaleava era at Tennessee is officially over after news late last week that the quarterback missed practice Friday in the midst of a contract negotiation with Tennessee. It was reported Saturday morning that Josh Heupel informed the team that Tennessee is moving on. Heupel first spoke about the situation with the Vol Network ahead of the Orange and White game Saturday, as heard right here on 104.5 The Zone. So Iamaleava will hit the spring transfer portal Wednesday after reportedly asking for in the range of $4 million for the 2025 season. Rory McIlroy won his first green jacket on Sunday, finishing the weekend at 11 under, edging out Justin Rose in a playoff to win the Masters at Augusta National. McIlroy completes his career Grand Slam, one of only 6 male golfers to ever do it, and the first since Tiger Woods in 2000. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're happy to have you here at the Governor's Club, where we are broadcasting live today. We got Lucas, we got Bert, we got Kirby, got Ramon Foster hanging out. It's a great time had by all. Beautiful day out here at the Governor's Club. Beautiful course. This is the second time I'm here in the last 3 days, as a matter of fact. They had a Masters party on Saturday. Masters party / couples shower that I went to out here on Saturday. It's good to be back.
Now, what's a couple shower?
I don't know. It's a thing. I assume that all of these showers are just more opportunities for people to give more money and to give more gifts.
See, I thought showers were just for babies. I thought you had baby showers. What else? I mean, how far is too far? Couple because you're getting together. If you throw an engagement party, does that make it an engagement shower? Like a baby shower is a baby shower? Do we just add shower at the end of it when we're celebrating something?
Like I said, I just think that these things are more opportunities for people to give you more money and more gifts.
No, I think I can help with the couple shower, baby shower situation.
I did not ask for your presence.
See, me and Cheyenne take a couple of those a year, so usually it's just a way to save water, in my opinion.
Is it? Nothing romantic about it?
No, it's strictly economical.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you rushed to the microphone to make that joke.
Hey, well, let me tell you something here. Speaking of my significant other, there are a lot of $2 pistols here, and I am not talking about the silent auction inside the Governor's Club.
Yeah.
I do not belong here. A lot of attractive people, a lot of wealthy people.
You stand out like a fungus. It's for sure.
As I mentioned on the morning show, I'm doing my best impersonation of a golfer today. Got my golf slacks on, got my golf quarter zip on. Do you guys want to hear my best impersonation if I have to interact with another golfer?
Yes, actually.
Here we go. And scene, how you hitting them today?
Oh, that's the extent.
And
yeah,
scene.
yeah. That's
okay, so you said and scene before you did the scene. I always thought and scene came after.
And scene.
Okay. That was good.
You like that?
No. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get involved. F&M Bank Chat. I assume we're on video today. Yes, we are. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. So a million different things have happened since last we spoke.
Yes, Nico wants an NIL shower. Wants to be showered with NIL money.
Yeah, I was about to say he wants a money shower. What he wants. Yeah, just take the NIL out of it. He just wants that cash, baby. And he's maybe is going to get it from someone. I don't know. It's a very uncertain situation. But ultimately, the results of what was that Thursday night's uncertainty around the situation that turned into Friday morning skipping of practice. And where is he? He hasn't talked to anybody. What's he going to do? Ultimately, it leads to Josh Heupel, the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, saying that they were going to part ways with Nico Iamaleava, who is one of the players who was on the forefront of name, image, and likeness in the world, and at top valuation name, image, and likeness in the world. And now will take his talents elsewhere, though the elsewhere component of it is as interesting. What are you giving thumbs up to the Torchies mascot for?
It looks like the
doing stuff here.
Arizona
You're engaging
State
with mascots.
Again, not the one railing the show, but it looks like the Arizona State Sun Devil mascot. And I was like, what is the Sun Devil doing here? But it's for Torchies Tacos.
I have made a deal with him that after his shift is over, I will take up the second part of his shift just so I can wear that mascot outfit.
There's no way you fit in that mascot outfit.
We can try. Look at the belly on that thing. I've got plenty of breathing room in there. Plus, he's got a diaper, so no bathroom breaks. It's great.
Not based on how that pullover, that one golf pullover that you have is hugging you today.
I was trying to show my abs off. Can you not see the definition?
I definitely see definition. It's
the definition of fat. I'll take the joke
clearly,
for you.
yes.
I see the Sharpie that you drew on your abs bleeding through your shirt.
That's accent. That's accent.
If I can interrupt this hen party.
I mean, everybody else is, why not, Kirby?
I have you a date with the devil costume with the diaper today.
Let's go!
Oh,
Love wearing diapers.
Well, nothing screams Robert Walsh like secondhand sweaty mascot wear.
Yeah, got it hooked up.
We've received a question in the FNM Bank chat. Lonzo asks, are y'all going to defend Nico like the morning show today?
Hell yeah. Go get your money, kid. Hell yeah. I'm so down with that. I also think the University of Tennessee did the right thing. Like, I can be like, go be a mercenary in the new look college football. And also, Tennessee is well within their right to put their foot down on the situation. So I'm not going to defend Nico's dad or his family or anybody else on Twitter or anybody else feeding false information to CBS Sports. Nothing to see here. But hell yeah, I'm on. I told you on Friday, I'm on Nico Iamaleava's side. Go make your money.
Well, if you're on his side, you're definitely on his dad's side. And I mean, you can say go make your money and also criticize the way this was handled.
Oh, sure.
And maybe
No, it's
overplaying
terrible.
your hand by people that are not experienced in this
Do we
field.
know definitively that it's his hand? I know that, Vols fans are not going to discern today and be like, oh, blame this kid. This kid sucks. He's not a VFL, this, that, and the other. You don't care about that. And neither do I would argue, probably half the college football player community at this point in time. Don't care about your college football traditions. Don't care about your fan base. Don't care about win one for the Gip or any of this other crap. Like, it's about the cash. It's professional sports. You're trying to make it happen. You don't know how many opportunities you're going to have to make that kind of money if you're Nico and his family gets in the way of the situation and it's a disaster and they handle it poorly and he looks bad as a result. I am going to continue to defend Nico Iamaleava, though, because he's the most at risk of getting hurt by this situation.
And he might get hurt by this situation.
And there are going to be a ton of kids and he is a kid. Like, I don't care if he's 18 or he's 20 now.
He's 20.
Whatever. Like, don't give me all this, beat your chest, go Vols crap. I almost cussed into the microphone on a Monday morning. But if he turns around and plays well, and then you want to fire Josh Heupel as a result. Like, there are so many different ways. It's so easy today and yesterday and the whole weekend as this was happening to rally the troops and circle the wagons and do the whole thing. And, nobody's big of the program, which is what Josh Heupel, we'll get to Josh Heupel's audio later, until he plays well and the optics turn. Because I want to know what the conversation is going to be like in October as opposed to the day that this all happens and everybody's, rah-rah, go Vols.
Yeah, see, now that is where I disagree with you, that if Nico turns around and plays well, the entire fan base turns into, we should have paid him, fire Josh Heupel. I do think that when the Tennessee fan base
good luck
gets united on something like you tried to screw over the program, we put our foot down and said no, goodbye, they will stick to that.
What if they miss the playoff?
Sure. If they miss the playoff and Nico leads another team to the playoff, absolutely, it'll be, of course, he took another step where we could have had that. But I still think that the prevailing opinion on the Vol fan base will be, well, you tried to screw us over. We said, bleep you, get out. And we wouldn't have done it any differently. I think when Tennessee's fan base gets united on one thing, especially when it's one figure or one variable trying to do something to the program, they lock up in defense of the program. Now, we'll see what happens in 2025. Tennessee does not get better. That is the thing where I disagree with a lot of the Tennessee fan base, is that this is addition by subtraction. It's not that. It's also what worries me, because I don't think Nico was a bad teammate. I don't think Nico was a locker room cancer. I think Nico had a great relationship with Josh Heupel and a lot of the guys. There was a ways to go from a leadership perspective. That was a huge focal point for him. He talked about it throughout spring practice, taking a big step in that regard. But you do not get better as a football team for losing Nico Iamaleava. Not even close. But it does kind of draw a line in the sand that I think that is what has made Tennessee's fan base proud over the course of the last couple of days. Not that we're a better football team now, because there's no argument to be made that Tennessee is a better football team without Nico Iamaleava. They got work to do.
I just love the virtue signaling, like the immediate virtue signaling of all of this, like that this is some proud moment, or will continue to be some proud moment.
Of course, it's a proud moment. Why wouldn't it be? Like, look, I know that you can't relate to that, but, like, also understand.
I don't know. Turn down that
how
crap. We're having an
people
actual
do.
conversation. That's such a waste of time. Get out of here, Jackson. Get out of here with that.
Okay, explain your stance on that.
My stance on it is it's such a reactionary thing because nobody's been through it before, and all it takes is Nico succeeding at even a remote level and Tennessee taking a step back at even a remote level for there to be huge division in the fan base about how this was handled. So it's virtue signaling to me. It's very reactionary. There's no nuance about this whatsoever. It's hilarious, the entire situation that's played out, and I totally understand the perspective of Vols fans. I totally understand the perspective of Josh Heupel. I think that he was right to say what he said at the time. Again, talk to me in November.
So the fan base being proud of its program for not wanting to be held hostage by one player
That's
to you
fine.
is virtue signaling.
Yeah.
See, that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't add up to me. That's just the team being proud
Neither
of the
did the
program
money,
for
which
doing
is why
something.
Nico Iamaleava is going somewhere else.
The money didn't make sense. You're right. It's his prerogative to say, no, market says I'm worth $4 million. I want $4 million. And it's Tennessee's prerogative to say, no, you're not.
So what if he gets what if he gets the money?
Well, I think we cross that bridge when we come to it, because I can't wait to see what the next step is for Nico.
Oh, sure.
Because
It's
one
a
thing
fascinating
that
story.
his side did do is, well, you don't have Tennessee as a bidder. You can't go to somebody and say, hey, Tennessee was paying us this. Now there is no baseline.
Or Oregon, reportedly, or USC,
Or Notre
reportedly,
Dame.
or Colorado, reportedly. How about Dion on
So
Twitter?
it's like, good luck, buddy.
Listen, how many FBS Division I college football programs are? It's like 130, right?
100, yeah.
And, not all of them have the financial wherewithal that the University of Tennessee has. I understand that. So it's not like there's 150 different college football programs that will drop $4 million on a quarterback out of the sky. But there's enough that would. And I'm looking at North Carolina. I'm looking at Bill Belichick. Like all of these coaches, Dan Lanning again, reportedly, or somebody in the Oregon program reportedly tipping Tennessee off to the fact that Nico's
But Dan
family...
Lanning reportedly calling Josh Heupel.
Right, shopping him around. Well, I didn't know, I hadn't seen Dan Lanning's name specifically in reporting that I trust.
It has been
Okay.
Dan Lanning's name out there
Okay.
that called Hype and said, your QB's dad is
Very
calling
good.
me right now.
Okay, that's fine. Until Bill Belichick comes to college football and says, no, I'll take him, you idiots. I am waiting for the first coach who doesn't fall in line with the whole situation about, oh yeah, we're not going to have this in college football. Mario Cristobal puffing his chest out after Tennessee's the first into the breach that way. Please,
Of course he's going to land somewhere. Just because he lands somewhere, it's like, oh, see, you were wrong. You should have paid him.
Yeah,
of course he's going to land somewhere.
Sure, but that's not my point. The money. Nico's first win, if there is a win in this for Nico to have, is if he gets paid more than Tennessee was willing to pay him. Whether he succeeds or fails after that is where the story is going to advance.
Yes.
There's a million different branches or directions that this can go and will go or won't go. I love it because it's a fascinating story. I know Vols fans probably don't, because nobody wants their program to be the first one into this thing. But it's so compelling, and it's the most obvious thing. So again, my position today is the same as it was on Friday, even though a bunch of stuff has changed. If you want to be pissed at anybody, be pissed at the NCAA. This situation does not exist if not for the NCAA's outright ineptitude. So I get you want to be pissed at Nico and his dad and his family and everybody else involved, but at the end of the day, the crux of the issue is still the fact that they allowed for a situation like this to happen because nobody wanted to be proactive, understanding that we were absolutely going to get a situation like this. It was just a matter of time.
Yep.
615-737-1045 is the number. If you would like to join the conversation, you are welcome to do so. We're going to be talking Nico all day long here on the radio show, where we broadcast live from the Fund Recovery Golf event here at the Governor's Club, the beautiful Governor's Club. We're happy to be out here. Even Bert has put on his Masters Sunday best, which I don't think I see a single stain on that pullover. That's an upset.
Yet.
It's an early day.
I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Lake lovers, listen up. Tennessee National, a highly anticipated lakefront resort, golf, and marina community, is having a spring sales event, releasing a limited number of lake lots to the public with upgrades and savings. One day only, Saturday, April 26th. You can get a cottage package with a boat slip from $379,900. You can get a lake lot with a covered boat slip from $64,900. For the first time ever, you can get fully furnished townhomes, lakefront townhomes, at this awesome event. A private golf cart, access to a new marina and resort, 10 miles of walking trails, 3.5 miles of shoreline, a brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse, waterfront concerts overlooking a beautiful lake, pickleball, pools, on-site coffee shop, and much more. Play on the lake or simply relax at the Waterfront Restaurant, just over 20 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available. Enjoy life on the water, fresh air, boat rides, and sunshine. Celebrate the lake life and make memories. Limited property release Saturday, April 26th. Visit TennesseeNational.com, or better yet, give us a call, 865-408-9992 to secure your private tour. Memories begin here. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Ramon Foster going to sit down here with us. He is the Vol Network radio analyst now, not just Ramon Kalin. Will, he's got all the things. He's got his big orange on. He's beating his chest. I don't know if he is on the side. I'm looking forward to his dialogue about this morning. And, of course, he's spoken for 4 hours already this morning. But to parse the different layers of this Nico Iamaleava story is going to be fun, and we're happy to have the big fella here with us at the Governor's Club. What's happening, bro?
Not much. Well, it was a lot this weekend.
Not much.
It was a lot this weekend, okay? But now it's some, settling of the dust and trying to figure out the pathway forward, man. I actually feel better about the situation than I did in the instant moment, man, when all the news broke or the rumblings of, hey, this could happen. After the fact, it's good as a team to be in these type of spots.
And so how much of that were you guys feeling throughout the course of the broadcast? Because a different kind of a broadcast, right? More, Mike Keith described it as as similar to the NFL Combine, the NFL Network's broadcast of the Combine, and how the different pieces and parts were going to work. And I know Vols fans are just happy to have any semblance of football, actual football, back in their lives. But how much of it did color the broadcast for you guys on Saturday?
Man, it in the beginning stages of it, you knew you had to address it. It was the elephant in the room, man. It's the imposing presence is what it was. So having to go ahead and discuss it, Buck, on the front end of it, and this was the broadcast was going to be, too. The broadcast was going to be us having conversations about all things around the game and not necessarily play-by-play breakdown. Hey, on this play he goes, it wasn't that. So it honestly helped the broadcast. I felt more than anything with us having the ability as former players at college and the NFL level to give our takes on that scenario and what it meant to teams and how you somewhat move forward. And I think that was the biggest part that I felt from it more than anything. Having known that certain guys were upset on how Friday went, the uncertainty of he was going to show up on Saturday, the conversation surrounding the ask that his family, his representation had more than anything. And I said on our show, I want to say it on yours too. And that culture, and I say Polynesian, islanders, right? The patriarch, the matriarch, the leader of their families. I've been around my teammates, man, who have been that figure for their family in the city that we were. Chris Kimawatu was it for his family in Pittsburgh. Make Kimawatu in Baltimore. What was same exact sentiments, right? When they say something, when they speak, when they snap their fingers, you listen. There's no question asked. There's no pushback. There's no any of that. And I think it's important to say that because I don't want to be in this spot and dogging Nico. Like, he's doing what his patriarch said, and he has no say-so in it whatsoever from my understanding of it. It's not like an iron fist, but it's close to it. So that was the other part of it that I wanted to clear up on Saturday. And also now, too, is you got to do as they say.
The idea that people are so quick to blow by that because it doesn't fit whatever narrative that they want to fit around this particular situation, a situation that, again, is the first of its kind. So understanding that there are going to be some speed bumps along the way here. But I love that you made sure to point that out because it immediately makes me think, and having not experienced with this myself, like you're saying, but just even watching the Manti Te'o documentary on Netflix and the amount of pressure that is put on them from their family dynamics and the way that the dad talks about how, there are certain expectations and how things are going to run. Like, if you need just a glimpse into that world, if you have no concept of it, that is one of the best articulations of what you're talking about that I've been able to see as somebody who hasn't been, like you, in a locker room with people who come from that kind of cultural dynamic.
No doubt, and I've heard the same also happen here. I wasn't close to the scene enough, but I've heard that it was the same way with Marcus Mariota and his family dynamic here. Like, you listen to either your mom or your dad in those situations, and I think that's a very unique place to be at. Now, back to the football business side of it, though, too. I personally look at Nico's situation and say it had to happen. If you're asking for a number that the team doesn't feel comfortable with, let's start there first. Why are you uncomfortable in giving that number if he's your sitting starter? So is there, deniability that, hey, they don't feel that he's the guy moving forward, but he's good enough to support you to help you win 9-10 games in the next year? Because the ones that needed to get paid, they did. Florida paid their guy. South Carolina raced to the line to go pay their guy. We see Michigan get out front and pay their young freshmen a crap ton of money too. And there's other places that have done this, but it hasn't been this broadcast. So Georgia, from my understanding, told Carson Beck no, right? This has happened. And not just with him, but Jaden Rashada also. Jaden Rashada was a former 5-star that's in the portal currently right now because of wants and needs, and I think is suing the University of Florida on top of it. So it's happened. I think Tennessee sucks for us. We're the ones on the front line of, hey, the first time coaches or an institution has pushed back on it. And you got to somewhat side-eye it publicly. You got to side-eye it also when you have Dan Lanning is the reportedly one that raised the curtain on this one. And to also see what Mario Cristobal is saying. This is, to me, the first step, I feel like, where coaches are finally realizing they got to say so, and they don't like this. The business that happened with the collectives and the people who administer the money out, disperse the money out, I think is totally separate from what the coaches want to be doing. And the fact is you see a huge support of what the Vols have done, I think may be the first step to getting a CBA. Or, hey, you can't break this contract year after year. It sucks because it might mean a 7-5, 8-4 season for the Vols, right? They had higher expectations with Nico. But this is, I think, the reset where the fans, and I know people that coach it, they're involved in and want it.
And that's the simple solution here. A CBA. Like the structure exists in the NFL. It's just that the college football consuming world is reticent to embrace the fact that you have been professional sports, all right? Yeah. Now you are actually professional sports, and it needs to be legislated and governed as such. Ramon Foster, Ramon Kalen, Will here with us. I want to take
real quick looks, but to that same point, though, we had Austin Price on earlier that said this was a one-year deal for Nico regardless of the fact is what he believed. So are you willing to, if to ask, and he has the right to ask that, for $4 million for the next 8 months when you don't know if you're going to get a championship out of it? That's a hard stance to take to say, here's $4 just to leave. Like, I know a bunch of anti-Vols fans who are like, you got the money. You're right, you do have the money. But just because you feel right about something don't mean it's right in the end. You have that right, though.
Yeah, and that's where I'm fascinated to see where this goes next, because we were talking about it in the first segment. Buck is of the belief that if Nico goes and leads another program to the playoff and Tennessee kind of flounders at 7 to 8 wins, that there will be kind of a switch flipped on, we should have paid him, and then
not even
in the program.
Lucas, I don't think that he has to take a program to the college football playoff. I just think he has to play well.
Now, see, I think that's insane, because to me, to justify paying a guy $4 million to reset the market like that, like you said, we better win a championship. Like, if we pay you that money and we go 9-3, just 10-2 again, and either stay even or right below or even just barely above what we did last year, was it worth that money? Hell no. You better win us a championship. And Tennessee, I wouldn't think, is in a spot to compete for a national championship, even with Nico next year. With the state of the roster, there's a lot that needs to be figured out. But I'm curious about the family dynamic aspect of it and how that might complicate things for guys in the locker room, Moan, because afterwards you heard Miles Kitzelman talking. I mean, there is steam coming out of his ears, right? He's ready to run through a brick wall. The team seems galvanized. We're moving on. If you're not with us, you're against us, that type of thing. But just the complications of his dad and Nico maybe not being as involved or at all involved in all those negotiations, I don't think he was a bad teammate. He wasn't a cancer. How would you react to this if you've been riding with Nico now for 2 years and then this situation comes down?
Just hearing guys speak about him, Miles Kitzelman being one of those guys, and others that you heard, of course, like they were ticked off inside the locker room. Like they legitimately were, because football is one of those sports, man, where everybody plays their own part. Nobody's bigger than the program, but players play bigger roles, though. And I think, honestly, Lucas, this is a bigger lesson for Heupel. It's a bigger lesson for all universities that are in this position where you treat everybody the same, but everybody might have a little bit of a difference in how you carry their business, so too. And I don't think Nico, from my understanding and talking to guys and being around it this weekend, was that impressionable with that, because you don't have that type of speaking out if that person was that impressionable, or you as an institution probably pay that fee, Lucas, instead of just, hey, saying go about your own very way, right? And that's what they got. So as far as this family dynamic of him not having any control, Lucas, this is what I would tell you in those moments. We had the Le'Veon Bell situation happen, right? And maybe it's through his agent, who have in hindsight has said they would have handled it differently. Okay? And you hope that doesn't happen for a guy like Nico, where there's a system in place for you that allows you to be successful. And with his teammates, what I would say is this. Our biggest contingency was communicate with us. More than anything, don't miss practice. More than anything, reach out to somebody, say, fellas, this is out of my control. And I know I won't have to tell y'all this, but because I love you, because we sweat, because I'm your guy, this is why I'm not showing up. And more times than not, guys will be okay. Or our biggest thing was at the time pulling okie doke on them. If you're not all the way in, just come in, collect the bag, and you know what? They can't test for migraines. I got a bad migraine. They can't say your hamstring isn't healthy. Come in and play them. Be that one that says, I robbed you guys, but I'm here. And that's the part I think his teammates, I know that's the way we felt at the time, was just be here. Like, we get it. We understand it. But on this situation, we didn't ask for this as your team. Like, and I get that's your business. But as a teammate, communicate with us a little bit more.
Yeah, the communication thing is a disaster. Like, indisputably a disaster. Even if I agree with the approach, not the approach. I agree with the concept of trying to maximize your valuation.
And you should. And he has that right.
What I'm saying, Ramon. You know, and at the end of the day, I would like you to also speak from the business perspective that college athletes are now going to have to consider that way. And there are going to be some hard lessons learned to that extent. You are so right in the communication element of it. It has to be clearly communicated. I'm not necessarily, bent out of shape about the coaches, but to your teammates who are the most important around you. I know some people will say you have to communicate with your coaches that way. I'm not necessarily of that mind.
I'm with you on that one because they're not the ones directly signing the checks too.
Right.
So that's that part of it on the coach's side. As far as the communication aspect of like what you tell families this time of the year is this: go get professional representation. Parents, me being a parent, okay, we look at our kids way different than somebody else may look at our kids too. And if you're in a position to try to orchestrate and place your kids in the best situation, sometimes it might bite y'all more than you actually know. Find somebody that knows this business, because this is what I was saying as it pertains. Like, there's a lot of people that have gone to school like Danny White, that has been an administrator of all his life, or these folks that run Aspire or whatever collective at any university. That's their world. If you have a product good enough to be in that world, they allow you to be in that world. And the way I look at the Iamaleava situation is this: you place yourself in a football position to where it's the springtime. You got 100+ universities right now that have been training in mat drills early morning. They've been lifting. They've practiced already too this time of the year. They've bled. They've sweat. They've had surgeries already and committed themselves to the cause of their team. You mean to tell me you and your business dealings right now are going to say, you know what, USC, UCLA, Notre Dame, Kentucky, if you could go there, I want to come play for you guys in the spring. Not only that, give me $5 million. Buck, Lucas, as a teammate, how do you feel about that? That's the side of it that really plays a part into their future moving forward. Is you can leave. As a starter, it's different because he can't leave Tennessee and say to yourself, I got to have equal, if not more money, because that's not how their structure is set up right now. You never know what another school has in their collective that they're willing to pay you, because to go from 2.5, whatever it is in Tennessee, he needs 5 in L.A. Are you as a school willing to set up a $5 million floor for quarterbacks moving forward? 4, also as Austin Price said, for 1 year. In the guarantee. What's the guarantee of that $4 or $5 million? That's why it gets sticky, and that's why I warn families and, like, especially dads in these situations. I love my boys, but I'm also smart enough to know, 1, don't brag on them too much, and 2, what's theirs they will get. And if you are, here's the other side, if you are that good, you gonna get it. Cooper Flagg got it this past year from what I understand. You think Duke better than his request? No. They got a Final Four out of it, didn't they? Like, those are the things you're looking for in those moments. So if you got enough flex, do it. I just don't think in this situation there was enough flex to cause for it on this one. So I thought it was a good business deal by the Vols.
There was practice happening on the field at Neyland Stadium, even if this dominated the conversation. 2 quarterbacks left on the roster, and Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre. Heupel said in the press conference afterwards that they will go get a 3rd quarterback in the portal. Whether that's a starter or a depth guy remains to be seen. What right now is kind of the overall thought on what Merklinger and McIntyre kind of bring to the table as they're kind of thrust into the spotlight at this moment?
I've seen them twice, man, and what I would say is this. This was before any of this came up. You can ask Will about this. And Kayla, I was like, Merklinger looks good. That's what I said when I came back on that Tuesday. I was like, Merklinger looks good, man. And that wasn't glazing him. That wasn't any of that stuff. But you see the playmaker ability. You see the decision-making. Now, what he doesn't have, experience. He's got to figure out how to get rid of the ball, and can he handle a SEC-style defense too? But I know his teammates like him. I know they're like carousing around him too, and he's serviceable of what you need him to be. He came there, from my understanding, with not much, if any, NIL, and he just said, watch me do the work, and he's done that. His improvement has been there. But I look at the other guy, the young fella, George McIntyre. His deep ball effectiveness is there. He can probably have more touch and understanding of crossing routes. If I'm not mistaken, he had a pick in the if I remember correctly, he had a pick also. But his ability to be smart with the ball, know when to tuck it and run, and just the placement of it, I thought was really good for a freshman. Now, George's biggest issue, he needed about 20 pounds. Legitimately, he needs about that much. And at this point, I honestly don't care how he gets it. It can be pure fat for all I care. I'd much rather it be muscle, but he needs a little weight to him to survive what the SEC can do to him during Saturdays. But I like it.
I know you've had a lot of this in the last couple of weeks since the announcement was made, but I saw Donald Page, the Titans team photographer who also used to work at UT, post a picture of you and Mike in the booth, and I got a little emotional.
You did?
Look at my boys.
Yeah.
Look at them shine. Look at them up there.
Hey, man.
How cool was that for you?
It was cool. I enjoyed it, man. I'll be honest, I was a little nervous.
Sure.
And especially, too, with all the information that was coming out around Nico, you had to get adjusted to it. But Mike, man, is such a pro. The crew is good. Like Swain, I got to give it up to Swain and Brent Hubbs, man. Jason Swain and Brent Hubbs, their thoroughness on how they know these prospects and how they know the game, their inside and outsider perspective of it was really dope, man. And it was a great back and forth. It sounded like a show more than just like a broadcast more than anything. And it was somewhat supposed to be that way this past weekend. I had my moment where I called Mike Keefe, Coach Mack, for a second, and he finally got it out of the way. He called Nealon Nissan. So we had our moments.
Ramon Foster, 6 to 10 a.m. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, analyst on the Vol Network broadcast. You're going to hear him on your Saturdays. You got a taste this past Saturday, coming to a radio very near you. Ramon, thanks for sticking around. We appreciate it.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you guys. Keep crushing it too, man.
What are you going to do? 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. I suppose since we're at a golf course, we should talk a little golf because Masters Sunday was electric. And I spent my Saturday night on Fox Sports Radio being told that the Masters was overrated. So I'm ready to pound my chest and talk about what an awesome day of golf it was coming up next. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. We're hanging out at the Governor's Club, the beautiful golf course out here in Brentwood, Tennessee, for the Fun Recovery Golf Event, the 4th annual. We're joined by Ryan from Fun Recovery and Shane from Pella Windows and Doors that's making it all happen. Gentlemen, thank you for having us out. It is a beautiful day for an awesome cause.
What a perfect day. Perfect day. Lots of great football players out here, legends. It's going to be amazing.
Yep, we got to turn his microphone on there, Kirby, so we can make sure that we can hear about all the good things that we're doing out here. Go ahead now, Shane.
Oh, he's got to replacing
look at him run.
Replacing batteries.
Look at him run, Kirby, replacing batteries. All right, we'll get Shane squared away here in just a second. Ryan.
You got me now?
There it is.
Hey, look at that technology.
Works fast.
Well, you know, it's nobody assumes competency when we show up at events like this, but
Best not to.
We do our best. So, Ryan, if you could just share with the audience, and I know people are familiar with the Fun Recovery event and the cause that you guys are supporting, but just the scale of what you guys are undertaking and the relief that you're providing for so many people in need.
Yeah, the scale is really overwhelming. If you think about what's happening with the opioid epidemic, the number of deaths that are happening in the United States every year, in Tennessee in particular, we're the second worst state in the country for fatal overdose deaths. And Nashville is the second worst city in the entire country for deaths. And we're the healthcare capital of the world. I mean, we've got major health systems based here, and we just said, enough's enough. And so we partnered with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We got support from companies like Pella Windows, and we are putting naloxone or Narcan vending machines in different NFL cities around the country to dispense overdose medication for free.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And for you guys at Pella, Shane, how important was it for you guys to continue to be a part of the good that the Fun Recovery folks are doing?
Yeah, we take mental health very seriously, and really support causes like that. We're locally owned and operated, and we feel like we need to align with charities such as this that fit with our mission and our values. We have a director of wellness on staff, which a lot of companies don't do, and so for us this was such an easy partnership.
Ryan, you guys have a great many events associated with the Fun Recovery fundraising, but you guys had your VIP event last night. Happen to be in the middle of the final round of the Masters. You get the drama leading into the day of the DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy potential squaring off again. DeChambeau craters throughout the course of his round. Rory makes
up and down.
Up, yeah. for his sake, I can't imagine what his blood pressure looked like yesterday. But the finish after the playoff hole with Justin Rose and everything that you guys got to take in sounds like you were throwing a Masters watch party that you didn't intend to have.
That's exactly right. We scheduled it not thinking that the Masters was going to be that exciting come 5 p.m. on Sunday, and we had a lot of the Hall of Famers traveling in, and I was in my hotel room, and I'm running the event, and I didn't want to come out of my room because I was trying to watch the end of this tournament. I found out we had 2 big screens downstairs, and it turned into this most epic watch party with like 8 Hall of Famers, a bunch of Titans down there. We're all hooting and hollering, screaming, cussing, yelling at Rory, like, make that damn putt. Yeah. Like, just unbelievable.
So everyone was Team Rory.
Most people were.
For the most part.
We had a couple Justin Rose guys.
Where did that...
I bet DeChambeau, so of course he fell off a cliff in the middle of that.
He did crater. For both of you guys, where does that stack up? Because we were having this discussion yesterday between, for me, the 2 best Master Sundays of my lifetime. I haven't been on this earth that long, but 2019, Tiger, 2025, what happened yesterday? Like, in terms of the up and downs and the narrative and the arcs, what, for you, is the most thrilling Master Sunday of your lifetimes after watching that yesterday?
I gotta say, I don't know what year it was. What was the year where Tiger where the Nike logo was like perfect on the edge?
The 04 Kirby? The Tiger chipped in?
That sounds right. We should know this. We're a sports show.
That's up there.
That was to me like my Sunday moment at the Masters. It was just incredible to see that intensity, make that shot in that situation. But yesterday it was almost cringy at the, it was a much different kind of feel. It was really exciting, but it was kind of a cringy excitement.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. I mean, when you're going through all the highs and lows that was the Rory McIlroy experience yesterday, like at certain points I just kind of like wanted to sink out of my chair. I'm like, oh, my God, please, no. Not for his sake, for his family's sake, the press conference afterwards, all these different things. Shane, is there a moment that stands out to you on a Masters Sunday?
Yeah, I think definitely the Tiger shot.
Yeah.
That was such an incredible, perfect branding for Nike as well, me being a marketing guy.
Sure.
05.
There we go.
Beautiful.
But yesterday, I think the excitement of the playoff and knowing what it meant to Rory, that was really cool to experience that.
Yeah, I mean the branding that Nike gets out of these things, and the commercial that they put together for or the promo, I guess, that they put together for Rory after the fact, they just rarely miss the mark on those kind of things.
Right.
Pretty good at what they do. But so is Fund Recovery and Pella Windows, who's making this awesome event possible. Ryan, for people who want to know more about the cause and how they can get involved with the great work that you guys are doing across the country, where can they go?
Well, you can go to our website, fundrecovery.org, and it has a list of our events. It's got a button to donate, but also it kind of explains about our mission and where we're going next. So we've got events all over the country. We'll be doing one in Denver with the Broncos and Steve Atwater. His wife, Letha Atwater, is a board member and just an amazing individual. We'll be going to Minnesota with John Randall. So, go to the website, check it out. But if you're local in Nashville, we actually still have some tickets available for tonight's dinner at City Winery.
There you go.
There's about 15 tickets left if you want to come, and go to fundrecovery.org.
And it's a star-studded lineup out there. I mean, Matt Rogers co-hosting with JT Hodges, but we know Jeffrey Simmons, Golden Tate, Delaney Walker, Jared Allen, Anthony Munoz. I know Eric and Jesse James Decker do a ton with you guys. How do you kind of receive the amount of support that you guys get? What do you think that says about Fund Recovery, the amount of support that you get from the likes of, NFL Hall of Famers, people that don't have to be taking time out to come to these things and support these things, but clearly it's very important to them?
Yeah, I think part of it was connecting with them in the sense that it's not odd to have someone in your family that struggled with mental health. And we've become a platform where it's okay to not be okay. And we have so many celebrities that are willing to share parts of their own family's story. Not necessarily them individually sometimes, but it could be their kids, their grandkids, their spouses, their parents. And so once you kind of start breaking down that barrier, more people raise their hand and go, oh, me too. I have someone like that in my family. And we're an outlet for them to speak and also to make a difference in the communities we serve.
Well, gentlemen, we so appreciate everything that you guys are doing to support those who need this kind of help, and there's so many people across the country, and to your point, I had no idea the statistics about the state of Tennessee and the city of Nashville specifically, how much our community is affected. So not that we speak on behalf of the community, but we are very grateful to the work that you guys are doing and to the work that you guys are supporting. Shane with Pella Windows and Ryan with Fund Recovery have been kind enough to sit down here with us at the Governor's Club, where the golf event is currently going on. Again, www.fundrecovery.org is how you can learn more and make sure that you get involved with this incredible cause. Thanks for stopping by, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, talk a little golf, talk a little Nico Iamaleava, the second hour of the show coming up next.
Hey, Lucas here to tell you about Music City's coolest new spot, Fog Street Lawn Club. It is Nashville's premier soccer pub. It's your go-to spot to watch Nashville SC games. It's even open early for Premier League action, even those 6 a.m. kickoffs. But no matter the sport, Fog Street Lawn Club makes sure you will not miss a moment. And the best part is you can spend the whole day there and you will never get bored, especially on a gorgeous day like today. Go check out the rooftop. It is the most picture-perfect view of downtown Nashville on a rooftop that you will find. Just trust me, go and find out for yourself. You can play British-style lawn bowling up there or cornhole right on the rooftop for free. Get some great drinks, some great food, an awesome day with your friends, or head next door, challenge your buddies to some axe throwing at Bad Axe. There is so much to do. It's located near the Gulch in the upcoming Pie Town neighborhood. Fog Street Lawn Club gives you the experience of downtown Nashville, but with a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle and the craziness of Broadway. It's family friendly, great for all sports fans. You can even host special events, birthday parties, even weddings, corporate events, not to mention the menu of British pub-style food, their fish and chips. For me, the Irish whiskey burger, it is incredible. And a large drink selection, so check out Happy Hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. and go check them out. Fog Street Lawn Club, located on Fog Street. It is 10:58. Good morning, broadcasting live from the Governor's Club in Brentwood. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Nico Iamaleava era at Tennessee officially is over. News late last week that the quarterback missed practice Friday in the midst of contract negotiations with Tennessee, and then it was reported Saturday morning that Josh Heupel informed the team that the Vols are moving on before the orange and white game. So Iamaleava will hit the spring transfer portal after reportedly asking for in the range of $4 million for the 2025 season. The portal officially opens on Wednesday. Rory McIlroy won his first green jacket Sunday, finishing the weekend at 11 under and edging out Justin Rose in a playoff, winning a wild Masters at Augusta National. McIlroy completes a career Grand Slam. He is only one of 6 male golfers to ever do it, and the first since Tiger Woods in 2000. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour underway here from the Governor's Club, where we are broadcasting live for this incredible event put on by Fund Recovery. Fundrecovery.org is where you go to learn more. The statistics that Ryan Kane was giving us out, just heartbreaking, but also so cool to see. Again, it's a national outlet, but the local impact, the statewide impact of what they are trying to do to continue to provide relief for those of us out there who have been affected by opioid addiction, or family members who have been affected by opioid addiction, and the help that they are trying to give them and the relief that they are trying to give them, and continue to work to that effort. And Lucas, it was a great question by you to bring up the football component of these things, because so many of these guys go through the struggles of mental health in a tough guy's game, right? You know, you don't get to show the mental fragility that you may be dealing with, or the personal battles that may be raging on inside you, especially with the rate of concussion and results of that over an extended period of time that these players go through and their family members go through and things of that nature. It's just such a cool thing to see people like Ryan doing the work that they're doing, and we're grateful that he's had us out and grateful that he stopped by to tell us more of the story.
Yeah, and again, there are still tickets available to the event tonight with JT Hodges and Matt Rogers hosting. Fundrecovery.org is where you can go get tickets. It's going to be a star-studded event.
I'm going to go tonight.
Nice.
You want to go?
Let's go.
Okay. Do you actually want to?
Let's go.
Okay. We'll do it tonight. Bert will be very happy to know that we probably going to take prime time. But that's neither here nor there. We are talking about the Nico Iamaleava situation for obvious reasons, because it has turned into a national story because it's the first of its kind, the first college football hold-in, the first program to put it. Well, to hear Ramon talk about it, it sounded like Kirby Smart did this with Carson Beck, and it just didn't get the headlines because you didn't have a dad on Twitter calling a reporter what?
The B word.
The B word, yes.
Okay, yeah, we are saying, I think we're getting carried away with it, saying this is the first time this has ever happened, as if this is the first time that a school has told a player, no, we don't have that, and that's not the case.
This situation writ large, though.
Sure, I mean, at this level, for that amount of money, and at that high profile a position, for what was already one of the most high-profile NIL cases from the jump, right? Nico was the first to get a sizable deal, and then you had the NCAA investigation and the lawsuit that followed. Like, Tennessee literally went to court to battle to keep Nico Iamaleava eligible. So this story's been in the headlines from the jump. It is the first time that we had a holdout, and I think that is the thing that made it ripple across, NFL outlets and just the entire country, talking about a player refusing to show up for practice, not telling coaches and players he wasn't going to show up for practice. And again, Nico was at Joey Halsley, offensive coordinator Joey Halsley's home Thursday night with the other quarterbacks, having dinner. Joey Halsley and his wife made tacos for the quarterbacks, and they're all hanging out, chopping it up.
Things go down at taco night, baby.
Literally, like 9 hours later, they step on the practice field, and the quarterback's not there. And so, we do have this audio, right, Jackson, from Josh Heupel talking about the moment that he knew that they were going to move on from Nico Iamaleava, and we're just going to rip the Band-Aid. talk to Josh when he's on.
That's Josh Heupel speaking on the situation that went down with Nico Iamaleava, Tennessee. The University of Tennessee choosing to part ways with their starting quarterback that took them to the college football playoff, or maybe not outright took them, right? It was a team effort, defense, Dylan Sampson, the whole 9 yards there, but was the starting quarterback for a college football playoff team for the first time in the University of Tennessee's history to be in the college football playoff that way. So while he may have been more, have you heard the term passenger princess? I know you're not on
Yes.
TikTok, but that is
I have heard
thing.
that.
So perhaps he is more passenger princess than he is outright facilitator of national championship aspirations, but he's a starting quarterback in the SEC for a college football playoff team. It's a big story. And ultimately, they chose not to meet his demands, which is not the first of its kind, as you correctly pointed out. And Ramon referenced Kirby Smart and Carson Beck in that situation, but Carson Beck went on, who's got a proven resume. He's got more of a proven resume than Nico does, but went on to make what, 4.3, 4.4 from Miami this year?
Reportedly like 3.8 million from Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, again, these are all just reported
I know.
numbers. There's no spot track where we can go look up the incentives and guaranteed money and
But
all these
soon
things.
there will be because of
There better
stories
be.
like this.
Yeah,
and
there has to
honestly,
be.
to Heupel's point, rip the Band-Aid. Just do it. All right, just get it done, move on, take your lumps, and try and recover as best you can. And they will try and recover as best they can. But it's just another question that they now have where Nico felt like one of the more solid things that you could talk about or bank on with the University of Tennessee's roster. Imagine us having this any semblance of this conversation last Monday, a week ago. How much has changed for the University of Tennessee in a week? Not even a week, in 3 days.
Well, and to your point about that your thought that you think Tennessee fans will flip on Heupel if Nico is good next year.
I do.
I disagree with you on that, but
I bet it's a 70-30 split.
Now, here's where the flip has happened. It's gone from Tennessee fans saying Nico was underrated last year, that he's not being given the credit he deserves, that he's going to take a big year 2 leap, that he is a top 10 quarterback, to he wasn't even good, we don't need him.
Andy Staples didn't put him on a list.
That is the flip. But
You fools.
again, that is the us against the world thing that Tennessee fans have. We're going to talk about it coming up next. The 4 of the biggest heel turns in Tennessee football history. Henry To'oTo'o is one of those, right? Henry To'oTo'o left the program at the end of the Pruitt era, transferred to Alabama. Tennessee fans did not blame the program for being what it was at that time, which is what they should have blamed. They blamed To'oTo'o. They went after To'oTo'o. It is once you're against us, that's it. Game over. So that's what I think it'll be with Nico. No matter what he does next year, you tried to screw us. We didn't let you. So I don't think there's going to be this flipped narrative that, Heupel, you should have paid him.
Oh, no.
Because from the Tennessee fan base perspective, look, here's the thing. We gave you this money coming out of high school, the first of its kind. The NCAA swept in. They tried to make you ineligible. We went to war for you. We got your lawyers, all the legal fees. God knows how much the university spent on that. We learned to pronounce your name for you. You got a bunch of East Tennesseans saying Iamaleava correctly, okay? So the moment you turn around and say, no, I want this.
What a gracious move, by the way, to pronounce the kid's name correctly. Well done by East Tennessee.
I'm just saying the fan base that you've been around for 5 minutes relatively, how they operate, okay? This is not going to be a flip thing that if Nico takes UNC to 9-3 next year, we should have paid him. If you're paying your quarterback $4 million, he better be a Heisman contender. He better be winning you a championship.
Lucas, and I appreciate your perspective because you are correct. Relative to the scale and the history of the University of Tennessee, its program, and one of the most loyal fan bases in the country, you are correct. I have been around it for relatively 5 minutes. 10 years is not even a blink. I don't even think it's 5 minutes in the scale of the 100+ years that the University of Tennessee has been playing college football. But I'm not saying that it's going to be an outright flip. I'm saying that it will cause division in ways that we may not foresee because it hasn't happened quite like this. If something like that were to arise, it will test that strength that you're talking about. And while I'm not, I have no idea. None of us have any idea how this ultimately is going to play out. There will be revisionist history done 3 years from now, or I guess 2 years from now, maybe not even. He's draft eligible after this coming season.
Correct.
So after this coming season, perhaps, I guess we won't even have to wait that long. There will be revisionist history done. And then again, once whomever, assuming the NCAA finally decides to take a proactive role in some of this, starts to legislate it the way that it absolutely should have been legislated from the jump, it will test that resolve that you're talking about there. And that is the thing that one of the things that I am curious about, because to your point, they are insane with how loyal they are to those colors, to the Power T, to the program and the people associated with it. And what Tony Vitello, right after the national or during the national championship,
it was the celebration on Gay Street, the parade.
The parade. Yeah, the parade. And he's saying something to the effect of, "It's not for everybody, but if you're with us, you're with us," right?
It's like you're either all Vol or you're not, something to that effect.
Yeah. So I have tremendous respect for that, but we are going to see it tested, or we are likely going to see it tested. Should Nico have any level of success that is even marginally better than he produced at Tennessee?
Yeah, we'll see, for sure. And it starts with, what does he get? What does he get at his next stop? And before we get to that, though, just kind of summing up how we got to this point, A to Z Sports did do some really good reporting on this, on just a little more of an in-depth look on how we got here. We knew talk started in December. Austin Price had reported that. Chris Lowe has mentioned that, where they not only wanted more money, they wanted more offensive line help. They wanted Tennessee to bolster that group, which they did, right? They brought in Sam Pendleton from Notre Dame, Wendell Moe from Arizona, who, by the way, is very close with Iamaleava, and they overlapped in high school for a brief amount of time. But apparently, according to this report by A to Z, it wasn't enough for the family. They still wanted more moves to be made on the offensive line. That's when they started to shop Nico around, reportedly calling Dan Lanning, who then called Josh Heupel, which to me is one of the most interesting nuggets in all of this.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Right?
I could spend a whole 3 hours on that conversation
100%.
or that theoretical conversation alone.
Just because of how backstabbing college football is in nature and the amount of tampering that happens and coaches going behind other coaches' backs and slipping into DMs and all this, shady stuff, that at some point coaches have to draw a line somewhere, because this might benefit me in the very short term, but it's also bad for me in the long term if this is the precedent that's being set. This kid's dad calling me and me giving him $4 million. I wonder how many coaches and ADs across the country are hitting up Heupel and Danny White and whoever this week saying, thank you for drawing a line somewhere and not letting $4 million suddenly be the bar for a guy with talent who has yet to perform past that talent.
I want to know the thing that I most want to know beyond the conversation, like the exact details of the conversation between Lanning and Heupel. I want to know if there was anybody that the family approached that didn't tell Heupel first. But Dan Lanning,
For sure.
Like, of course, Dan Lanning did the right thing. I bet there's plenty of people who did not.
Oh, sure.
And now you will see people start to come out on social media and in press conferences ahead of spring games or after spring games and things of that nature and be like, we stand with Tennessee, or in principle, nobody's bigger than the program, this, that, and the other. Okay, but how did you receive a call from Nick Iamaleava? Did you then rush, as Dan Lanning did, to inform his current head coach about the situation, or did you sit on it for maybe a day, a couple hours? Let's let somebody else be the noble one. Maybe we just let this thing play out a little bit, because what I know about this business is that people assign entirely too much morality to it. The thing that I know, Lucas, we are now getting into where college football is going to be in my comfort zone, because now it's business and the business of big football, and that is what the NFL is rife with. And I have never seen more identifiable traits between college football and the NFL than I have in the modern day, and that is going to make college football fans insane if it hadn't already.
There is overlap, but there's also a ton of differences, right? Like, the way Nico's side handled this is not a way you could handle it on the NFL side.
No, because the guardrails exist.
Exactly.
Because the guardrails
That's
exist.
why the guardrails exist. So, but to the A to Z report, it does sound like the family was, because things sort of settled in spring ball and Nico's practicing and talking to media, it does sound like that report from Pete Nakos is the thing that kind of re-triggered them. And reportedly they were blindsided by that leaking out and felt betrayed. And then you have his dad taking to Twitter and saying this is false, when obviously it's very much. By the way, he got community noted. Did you see this?
I did.
Twitter.
The one thing Elon did well with Twitter is the community notes thing, because it lives to make people like this look foolish after the fact.
Yes. And so at that point, the bridge was burned.
615-737-1045 is how you chime in if you want to react to the situation between Tennessee and Nico Iamaleava. Now the situation is done and dusted. Both sides have moved in different directions. Where Nico lands remains to be seen. Where do you think he's going to land? I would pose that question to the audience at some point today. We'll take your phone calls on it. And who do you think is most correct in this situation? I have an idea of who the audience is siding with today. I have a pretty good idea who the audience is siding with today, right? But I do think that this story, like I said, has so many different layers to it. And at the end of it, we can talk about who I think is going to be most hurt by this, and we can do that coming up next. Buzzer beater with your retirement goals, then call Trajan Wealth today, because we have all gone through some level of financial insecurity in our lives, whether that is something that is going on with your present-day finances, given the current economic climate, or if you're just trying to make sure that you have a plan in place. Trajan Wealth is there to walk you through the process, because occurrences like inflation, election cycles, new laws, and interest rates can affect the financial markets in the short term, but it doesn't make sense to keep changing the way that you invest in response to the daily news. Instead, Trajan Wealth will help you review your strategy and make sure that it's right for your goals, your risk tolerance, and your time horizon. So let Trajan Wealth help you decide what to do. There are so many different ways that they can assist you on that front, and it will give you the peace of mind that you require to move forward. Nobody likes thinking about money situations, and all of us go through it at some point in time. So call Trajan Wealth today at 615-270-5000. They have a location out here by us in Brentwood and also in Franklin. The number again, 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. 615-737-1045 is the number. We're hanging out at the Governor's Club where they have the Great Fund Recovery event, and they have great sponsors like Sucker Punch that just came over here and offered us some hydration pickle juice, and I am delighted by this entirely. This is hydration pickle juice jacked with electrolytes. Bert immediately asked if we could have some bourbon so he could make picklebacks with it, even though this is for sport, recovery, for hydration, for, proper function, and Bert's just trying to make a mockery of the entire thing. Did you try the pickle juice?
Yes, it's lovely.
Okay.
I love pickle juice.
There's several of them in front of me. I may drink them all. Who's to say? But speaking of things that'll make your face pucker, there have been Nico Iamaleava is not the first defection from the University of Tennessee, famously. There have been 4 super notable ones in just my lifetime, and Lucas, obviously, in your lifetime, but your wealth of knowledge about the program and the ups and downs of Vols fans with people who decide to leave unceremoniously is much more vast than mine. So I think the way that we're going to do this is that I'm going to set you up to talk about the feelings at the time of these situations that we are getting ready to go through. Nico being the most recent, but far from the only one. And every program has something like this to an extent. The Nico thing is obviously different in the modern age, but I bet it becomes a more common occurrence than we have previously seen. So do you want to start from the earliest of the 4 that we put on? And we put out a poll at Buck Rising for you guys to vote on the polls. How is the poll phrased?
So the question is, what is the biggest heel turn in Tennessee football history? Is it Nico Iamaleava? Is it Lane Kiffin bolting after a year to go to USC? Is it Henry To'oTo'o transferring to Alabama? Or is it Jalen Hurd leaving the team midseason and transferring to Baylor, even switching positions in 2016?
All right, so I'm going to take this from the external perspective and rank them from the way that I see them, and then you can take it and run with it as you will. I think Jalen Hurd is the least offensive of these.
Okay.
If I had to take a guess. I think Lane Kiffin is still the most offensive of these because it disrupts so many more things. I mean, I know a quarterback leaving is super disruptive. I would probably go Nico second, and I would go To'oTo'o third.
So right now, that is exactly how the voting is being
I didn't even cheat.
Laid out at the moment. So at the moment, Kiffin has 59% of the votes. Nico's got 32.7%. To'oTo'o 5.8%, and Hurd only 2.6%. So starting from back to front, 2009, we know Lane Kiffin, young, hot shot, loves to get out there and trash talk coach, fired by the Las Vegas, or I guess then the Oakland Raiders, hired by then Tennessee Athletic Director Mike Hamilton to replace Philip Fulmer, who had been at Tennessee since 1992 as the head coach, obviously in many different capacities before that. So Kiffin comes, and the 2009 season isn't an overwhelmingly successful one. They go 7-5. They bounced back from a dreadful 5-7 season in 2008, and they were fun. I mean, Eric Berry, last year for Eric Berry at Tennessee, Jonathan Crompton had kind of this revival at the quarterback position, and they go to the Chick-fil-A Bowl, get spanked by Virginia Tech in Atlanta. But overall, you felt good about the direction of Tennessee football, and there was very good recruiting, littered with violations, but Tennessee was signing 5 stars all over the place. Lane Kiffin's talking trash to Urban Meyer. Vols fans are in, right? And then that fateful night in January of 2010, everybody's freaking out. There's been oral histories written about it. The night that Lane Kiffin bolted after a year at Tennessee.
The mattress industry never recovered.
It never recovered in Knoxville. Still has not. To go to USC, obviously the place where he really got started in his coaching career, his dream job to replace Pete Carroll, who had left to be the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. And Tennessee fans are going insane. This happened in mid-January. So at that point, pretty late in the game, when signing day, back when it still mattered in February, is right around the corner. Tennessee panic hired Derek Dooley, and that's really what began the slump of 15 years that we know as the decade plus of dysfunction in Knoxville.
So how old were you?
I was in 8th grade.
What was the level of trauma to young 8th grade Lucas that Lane Kiffin was defecting the program overnight to go coach the Trojans?
I was furious. I mean, I was absolutely furious. 8th grade me wanted a piece of Kiffin so bad.
We're a piece of it.
That's right.
So let me on Lane.
No, I was obviously livid.
Let me at
And, I mean, there's all these stories from the
Oh my God! Wait, this is the spelling bee picture of you. That's 8th grade.
That's
Lucas.
it. That's it.
That's so funny.
That's the Lucas that was heartbroken by Lane Kiffin. That's the one. Yes. No, seriously.
I could just imagine that because we have that picture somewhere in the
Yes.
in the database at this point in time for people who have not seen the picture that we posted of the 8th
Jackson
grade
could
Lucas.
probably throw it up on the stream, to be honest.
Panzika, 8th grade spelling bee winner, and also somebody who was trying to fight Lane Kiffin. I
That's
just
right.
have a mental image of Lane Kiffin holding you at an arm's length,
Holding my head.
as you swing both arms at him, little brother style. Let me at it.
I mean, the stories coming out from the locker room that day, the players crying, players just, you brought me here. You recruited me here. You gave me all these promises, and now you're gone after a year. And Ed Orgeron calling Tennessee recruits saying, don't enroll in class. We want you to come with us to USC. All the stories behind it. The ultimate betrayal. So that's the Kiffin part of it. That was in 2009.
Then Jalen Hurd.
Then Jalen Hurd in 2016, who, long story short, 5-star from Beach High School, one of the best players in the history of high school football in Tennessee, goes to Tennessee, immediately hits the ground running, quite literally, and is on track to smash the career rushing yards record at Tennessee. Then mid-2016, Hurd is kind of out of the picture. He doesn't travel with the team for a game. They're saying he has a concussion. You never really know with Butch. He lied all the time. And then mid-season, Jalen Hurd's gone. He's transferred from the program. He ends up at Baylor, and he has switched positions, going from running back to wide receiver. In the end, a fateful decision for Jalen Hurd, whose career fizzled very, very quickly after that.
When did he become a tight end? Was that in the NFL? Or the attempt at trying to
I think that
become a
happened
tight end?
after he got to the NFL.
Okay.
Yes, very, very short-lived. But quit on his team, right? Mid-season, I mean, tons of reports about the friction with Butch Jones, how he was misled by Butch Jones on Tennessee's scheme, how it was going to fit him better, and ended up not fitting him better. And, Vols just relied more heavily on Alvin Kamara that year. And, ultimately Tennessee melted down a little bit, missed out on the chance to go to the SEC championship. Jalen Hurd leaving mid-season. And then, of course, Henry To'oTo'o at the end of the Pruitt era when the program's in flames, Chick-fil-A bags, the whole thing. Huge exodus to the transfer portal. To'oTo'o is one of those players, but, of course, it's about where he lands, and that is the University of Alabama, which recruited him very, very heavily out of high school initially. And then you have this situation with Nico. So after laying all of that out, would you re-rank the heel turns?
I would not.
Kiffin is still number one.
Kiffin is still number one because it's not Nico. It's his.
Well, sure, but when I say
surrounding
Nico, I'm
the
talking about all of
situation.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about Nico.
It's still Kiffin to me. Kiffin's the only one that I wasn't in the state of Tennessee for. Everything else I've been able to, not firsthand witness, but been able to witness as a working professional in the sports world. Because that happened, obviously, there's a huge gap between Kiffin and the rest of it. But what happened with Kiffin is something that it took them until kind of last year to feel like they were back, not still reeling from in some form or fashion, right? That brief moment in time where Jeremy Pruitt won, 6 games in a row? 7 games in a row with the bowl game against Indiana?
6 games.
And the fateful Gator Bowl that the Midday 180 bet me, the Indiana-Tennessee game, and then I had to shave my head as a result because Indiana football at the time could not recover an onside kick. I remember the Hurd thing, and I remember thinking, not the Butch Jones situation, and my experience with Butch is obviously different than Tennessee fans, but I would not blame a player for wanting to leave a program that was coached by Butch Jones or Jeremy Pruitt. So I was fine with everything that happened around Hurd and To'oTo'o. That was not that deep to me. The Kiffin thing is the most extreme. The Nico is the next most extreme. And the only reason that Nico does not supersede Lane is because Tennessee is in a situation where they can bounce back quicker from this, theoretically, than the damn near 15 years, Lucas, that it took them to feel like they were whole again after the Lane Kiffin experience. Is that fair?
It's fair.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to blame Lane Kiffin for the decisions Tennessee football was making in 2012 and 13.
but it still felt like it was like a domino effect.
It was,
right?
It was. And they made a panic hire, brought in Dooley, who was supremely unqualified, and we know what happened after that. Now, there's kind of you can add a caveat to all of those, right? For Henry To'oTo'o, you're right. Program was in flames. You couldn't, in your right mind, blame anybody for wanting to not be a part of that. You can give credit to the players that stayed, right? Cooper Mays and Omari Thomas and the like, and the role that they played in helping build it back up. But
And those guys are essential to have. You don't get back without guys like that.
But I have a hard time blaming the guys that left. It's about where he landed, right? Alabama. But in the end, that was Alabama's churning out linebackers into the NFL draft, right? And he's a Houston Texan, and his Bama career didn't go the way that, as good as he thought it would. He
didn't win a title.
No. He didn't win a title. He obviously lost to Tennessee in 2022, and there's plenty of images from that game with him. But with Kiffin, it was about him leaving for truly what I believe is the only job in the country he would have left for, his dream of all dream jobs, USC. So it's like this two-handed thing where if you put yourself in his shoes, I bet it was painful for him to do that. But it's like you're never going to get this opportunity again. And so in my later life, I've been very torn on the Kiffin thing in hindsight, where it's like, yeah, but it's his dream job. It sucks. It sucks that he had to leave his team after a year. But it is easy to call that the biggest betrayal. And then Hurd, I'm with you. Butch Jones, I don't fault anybody for just not wanting a part of that. Leaving your team mid-season, though, is tough.
Again, choices were made, even if the thought, the idea was the correct idea.
Yes.
The route to execute that was the thing that fell, that left you wanting the most, or that probably upset most people. And I see some comments, Taylor H. on YouTube, if you're live streaming the show. If you want to weigh in on this for Vols fans who have memories of all of these various heel turns at times, 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate. You also have the F&M Bank chat on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, where we are live streaming the show from the Governor's Club today. Taylor says the Kiffin moment is Vols fans, quote, how I was radicalized moment. Nico isn't even close. I don't, like, it happens so quickly with both of those things, and Kiffin even more so, right? It's the extra layer of, well, it happened under the not the disguise of night, but under the shadows of night. You're right. It's something that just kind of felt like you got the rug pulled out from under you, and so does the Nico thing But it happened Thursday. It played itself out this entire weekend, and now Monday you're still talking about it because it is the biggest story in college athletics right now.
It is. Well, I think this is incomplete. I want to see the situation Nico ends up landing in and what he gets.
Yes.
If Nico ends up getting $2.7 million to play for a team that is less talented than Tennessee in 2025, where he will not have continuity, even if he gets like 3, right? It's like that $0.5 million was that important to you to leave your teammates high and dry in the spring and to handle it the way that you handled it. Like, if he doesn't get what he left to go get, then I think you can almost rank it at the top of that list because of, again, all of the build-up to it. Tennessee putting their faith in Nico, going to war with Nico, legally against the NCAA, paying Nico, all of these things. But because you couldn't pin down the program, you left, and you still didn't get what you were looking for. That, to me, I think would almost edge out Kiffin. And time heals all wounds, and a lot of Tennessee fans are back to loving Lane Kiffin because of how he kind of has some fun with the program and social media.
It's been long enough at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't have that ill will towards Kiffin.
There are still people that do.
There absolutely are. There absolutely are. But I don't know, man. If this Nico thing kind of becomes for naught and they end up screwing themselves because of how they handled it, then I wonder if Nico shouldn't rank Nico, his side, the Nico camp.
Saga.
The Nico camp shouldn't rank at the top of these 4 heel turns as the biggest in this era.
Yeah. It's such a complicated thing, though. I am somebody who really struggles with the idea of blaming Nico. I am so down to blame the people around Nico.
Absolutely.
So, but that, Vols fans are not gonna distinguish, right? I mean, they will lump everybody in together as being associated with the Nico Iamaleava situation, and make their presence known as they do on the internet. And if Nico obviously can't transfer to an SEC program because, as you correctly pointed out on Friday, Greg Sankey does have some guardrails around some of this stuff to where you cannot transfer in conference and play that upcoming season. So at least some level of regulation here by somebody with some foresight. I'm going to assume that Carson Beck is a player who comes up a lot with the Nico conversation, just because last year they both underwhelmed relative to expectation. And expectations for Carson Beck should have been higher than they were for Nico. He was talked at one point as a potential number one overall draft pick. Not just a first rounder, but a number one overall draft pick. And now that's obviously taken a turn. He, though, I think had the better excuse than Nico did because the Georgia wide receiver situation last year was an atrocity. You saw the drops all year long. Did he play up to expectation himself? No, but he was not being helped by the talent that is there to help him take that program to the next level or continue that championship standard that Georgia has. I'm going to assume that Carson Beck still makes more money than Nico Iamaleava this upcoming season because the resume is there. Nico's is not. And because while Beck had a similar situation where Georgia kind of said, I don't think so for that kind of money, Nico's has been much more public than was the Carson Beck situation, even though Carson Beck's social media situation has kind of overtaken the conversation around him right now and the Cavender sister that he was dating at the time. I think if Nico makes 3, that's still a win.
For Nico?
For Nico.
I don't know, man.
I think $3 million, 2.4 to 3,
Congrats.
I think it's a win.
It depends on where he lands, but if you get a slight bump for a worse situation, if you were really in it for that 250 or 500K.
But Lucas,
right.
what is the you are placing a level of importance on the situation that he is clearly not, or that somebody in his camp is clearly not. He is in it for money. And also the football part is ancillary. But the money for some of these guys, I'm not going to say all of these guys, but like I said, I bet it's close to a coin flip on the amount of players who would place financial security or financial benefits ahead of the opportunity to potentially be in the college football playoff or win a championship or all these different things. Yes, they're competitors. Yes, they want to win games. Yes, they want to be, thought of as the best among their peers and just the best generally. But I think that we are seeing a cultural shift that is in the pros, that is trickling its way down to college because the opportunity exists to make this kind of money. $3 million is not chump change, right? 2.4 is not chump change. And maybe the difference to the fan listening at home is not so great that 2.4 to 3 is not a substantial increase. It depends on how many people Nico Iamaleava is expected to support.
Sure.
So I'm going to say that is a win for him because clearly there is a financial prioritization here.
For $4 million, which is what they were looking for. So what I would love to ask Nick Iamaleava with some truth serum, let's say...
Wouldn't that be an interview?
Let's say Nico lands at...
That's how like it... Well, he may need truth serum based on Twitter's community notes.
Let's say Nico lands at North Carolina for $3 million, and if you were to give them truth serum and tell them that in hindsight, if you knew this is how it was going to play out, you push for the 4 at Tennessee, where you're poised to make a year 2 leap in the same system next year for your $2.4 million, and what you can get is not the 4 you were looking for, but $3 million, and you get it elsewhere, would you still do this? We'll never know the answer to that.
It's too late now.
I love this comment real quick by Christopher in the F&M
there's
Bank
one
chat.
that I hate that I want to get to, but
it might be okay. It says, it appears that those, very ominous, it appears that those who turn their backs on the University of Tennessee often find that fate has a way of restoring balance. Loyalty, after all, is not without consequence.
Please. The drama.
Hey, Kiffin got fired on the tarmac. To'o didn't exactly have the career he thought he would at Bama, and Jalen Hurd's career fizzled with the snap of a finger. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, go ahead and thank the University of Tennessee for all of that. It's nonsense. Because the comment there that I see that I hate is $2.4 million should be plenty, Buck. And I get why people who are not making $2.4 million feel that way. But if you have the opportunity to leverage your situation, we would all like a raise in our jobs. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. So don't tell me that $2.4 million should be plenty, when in reality, there are players out there making more on the market, and maybe he doesn't have the resume, but he saw an opportunity to try and maximize his value, and I'm never gonna fault somebody for that, even if I disagree with the process and how it played out. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to jump in, we'd be happy to have you. So who takes Nico?
There's reporting to that effect.
Find out next.
Welcome back, broadcasting live from the Governor's Club in Brentwood as the Fun Recovery hosts its 4th annual charity golf tournament and Harmony and Heroes, a night for mental health. Dinner and concert happening tonight to raise money for mental health and addiction treatment. Go to funrecovery.org to purchase tickets.
I'll tell you, they should call it the Fun Recovery because I am having a fantastic time out here. I would never, under any circumstances, be allowed in a venue like this. The bathrooms, exceptional. The food, immaculate. The people, very beautiful. Like, I keep wondering when security is going to kick me out of this establishment.
I'm with you. I don't like walking into establishments where
Please
I know...
don't hit me with that microphone again.
No, don't do that.
I'm kicking you out of the
there is security.
There's actual
All right,
All right, guys, I gotta go.
escort this person
It's
away.
been
I
fun.
can't.
It's been fun, guys.
I can,
Baba Booey.
We're going to throw him in the back of a golf cart and have him dumped in the lake later.
I can relate, though, to walking into an establishment where you know you have to behave.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
This is one of those places.
Yeah, it's something about it. So I can relate to Robert
This
on that.
is definitely one of those spots that your dad would grab your leg and be like, now listen here. If you don't act like you got some sense in here, I am going to tear a knot in your booty.
Were you one of those kids that would...
Grandma will give you a church pinch on the back of your arm fat.
Oh, those were
Those
tough.
are vicious.
That's where I feel like any of my pain tolerance came from. My dad used to grab like a horsey bites the apple. You know, when you would get somebody like right by the knee meat, or he'll just grab you and pinch you and
It's
be
brutal.
like, I'll let go when you settle down.
Were you a screamer as a kid in public places?
No, because my dad had a swift hand. You go ahead
Really?
and scream because he's going to stop that noise one way or another.
You know when you'll hear those just ear-splitting
No, I
shrieks
was
from
one of
children?
these kids where you make me cry and I would go, I'm sorry, Dad, I didn't mean to forget to do my chores.
It wasn't me, Daddy. It was the devil.
I've done that before, too. We were at some church function. They were having an auction, and the fella came up to me before the auction and was like, I came home half drunk last night. My wife said, what'd you come home half drunk for? He said, I ran out of money. I told that to everybody at that church auction, and my mama pulled me to the side, wore me out, and I was like, I'm sorry, Mama, that wasn't me. That was the devil. It wasn't me. The devil jumped in my body, Mama.
I don't think I've ever had a moment like that. Very well behaved. Very uninteresting.
That doesn't surprise me.
Although there is one time. So have you ever taken an international trip with your family?
If you would include going to Myrtle Beach, that was about as international.
Have you never been out of the country?
I've been to Toronto one time.
That counts.
No, it doesn't.
Not
That's
with
out
my
of the
family.
country.
Not if Donnie has anything to say about it. We're coming for you, Canada.
Okay.
Or Greenland.
Where were you going with that?
I was like 7. And my mom was still working, and my mom worked in foreign diplomacy and international government politics. I sound pretentious off the top, but that's what it is. And so I would go on some of these trips with her because, it's tough to find a babysitter for an international trip for a couple of weeks or whatever. So she took me on a work trip to Paris. She wants to get a picture in front of the Eiffel Tower. That's fine. We'll take a picture in front of the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées, all of these things.
God bless you.
That's right. The only picture that we have from that trip is me in a pair of Mickey Mouse overalls at Disneyland Paris,
Crying.
screaming. Like,
How old are you? Like 15?
yeah, I was 25. I am 7 years old. So that would have been funny. 17. 7 years old, and she is physically, like, you can tell the look on her face, like, I am going to beat you in front of all of these French people if you do not stop. And I am like arms in the air, like flailing all around, losing my mind. My mind. And then I got to go to Disneyland Paris and it was all
You
good.
were happy. I can relate to that in what you're saying as a kid. I was such a little brat about us going to visit our family in Brazil or Italy. Like, I love my family, but end of the day, it was like going to grandma's house for 2 weeks. And like, I just wanted to hang out with my friends. So I for once can relate to you on something like that I cringe when I think back to 8-year-old me. I don't want to go to Italy. I want to stay home and ride my bike.
I don't want to go to the Eiffel Tower.
the most please clip that, Jackson. The most surprising part of your story, Buck, was that you were wearing overalls.
Never again.
The pants of the people.
Again, why I was screaming because I didn't want to wear the overalls and those things right up. You don't want that.
Nico won't be wearing those checkerboard overalls much longer. On3 Sports is reporting intel on potential landing spots for him. And in the graphic, just the graphic with Nico's face surrounding him are 3 logos: UCLA, Tulane in North Carolina.
Yeah, Belichick wants that quarterback, baby.
You also go to
Like you
247
idiots, you let one go.
Nico's profile on 247 has him predicted as a 100% crystal ball prediction to North Carolina.
That is the most obvious layup in the world. All these other coaches calling Josh Heupel, hey, your quarterback's shopping himself around, or your quarterback's parents shopping himself around. Bill's looking around like, come on down. Come on down. We could use a mercenary type like you, kid.
But still,
you really can't blame the guy for going from the SEC, a mid-tier Tennessee program, and then going to the ACC, a superior conference, superior team, superior coach.
Who was even a good ACC football team last year? Miami?
Look, we're talking about this year. The ball keeps
And they were
rolling.
only half of a good football team. They were a good offense.
All I'm saying is
Why are you saying anything? Who gave you a microphone?
he's in the best Carolina.
Shadows.
ACC truther Robert Walsh.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is how you can live stream the show as we broadcast live from the Governor's Club here in beautiful Brentwood, Tennessee for the Fund Recovery Golf event.
I will say, your reaction and my reaction was, oh, well, he's going to get that somewhere.
Yes.
Like the immediate reaction, well, Oregon reportedly out, USC reportedly out, Notre Dame reportedly out. I am relatively surprised at how other programs seem to be kind of drawn. I never thought when this broke Thursday we'd be seeing something like this from Brandon Marcello about Texas Tech, who has a ton of NIL money. We'll make that clear. And Marcello reports, among the rumored potential landing spots for Nico Iamaleava, you can eliminate Texas Tech. Sources tell CBS Sports the Red Raiders are happy with Baron Morton as their starting quarterback. You ever heard of Baron Morton, the Texas Tech quarterback? I have not. So I'm just saying, I'm surprised. I'm surprised at just how other programs, big-time programs that could use a Nico Iamaleava and would have the funds to do it are saying, no, we don't want a part of that either. But maybe he will end up in the place where ACC truther Robert Walsh should want him.
Have we ever done the show while drinking tequila?
Not to my knowledge.
Because the good people at Black Sheep Tequila are here.
Ooh.
And there is a delightful-looking bottle of tequila that is staring me in my face. And if you know, I don't know if it goes well with the pickle juice that has been propped up here. But, no, I don't want that. Well, that's a good time for me to take a tequila shot. We're not actually doing this ACC Truther thing, are we?
CC, he'll never hide. From Clemson to Stanford, Virginia Tech to SMU. For the ACC, he'll always stay true. It's Robert Walsh, the ACC Truther.
Kirby, very complimentary of the imaging on the ACC Truther. I appreciate that.
One of his one misguided compliments.
Yes,
this is easily one of them.
Oh, Kirby just destroyed his knee on that speaker.
Oh,
Oh, no.
no.
Oh, he's going to ground. Somebody
CJ,
get Kirby,
give him a brace.
I'll give Kirby.
Become his leg.
I'll give Kirby the ace bandage off of my injured ankle. That's how much I care about Kirby.
Copyright, you use the word truth, damn it.
And he's gone down. He's down. So those are the three for Nico Iamaleava right now. UCLA, Tulane, and UNC. We'll see where he lands and if he gets the figure that he reportedly was looking for. Where does Tennessee turn at the quarterback position? We'll talk about it next. We are seconds away from 12 o'clock. Good afternoon. Broadcasting live from the Fun Recovery Charity Golf Tournament at the Governor's Club. I'm Lucas Panzica. As we know, the Nico Iamaleava era at Tennessee is officially over. The news broke Saturday morning that Josh Heupel informed the team Tennessee is moving on. Before the orange and white game, Heupel spoke about the situation with the Vol Network's Brent Hubbs, as heard right here on The Zone.
Listen, it's the state of college football. At the end of the day, no one's ever bigger than the program. That includes me, too. And we got an opportunity. We got a bunch of guys that are going to give their all for Tennessee. We move forward. Got a great group. Let's go compete. All right.
Iamaleava will hit the spring transfer portal after reportedly asking for in the range of $4 million for 2025. Rory McIlroy won his first green jacket on Sunday, finishing at 11 under, edging out Justin Rose in a playoff to win the Masters and complete a career Grand Slam. McIlroy, one of only 6 male golfers to ever do it. And the Nashville Predators only have 2 games left in the season, both at home, including tonight against Utah Hockey Club. Puck drop at 7 p.m. from Bridgestone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour here at the Governor's Club, where we are so happy to be hanging out today for the Fun Recovery Golf event. And we have tequila. It's my favorite. It's Black Sheep tequila. It's delightful. Jason at Black Sheep Tequila has brought us over my favorite bottle of their Reposado, the single estate Reposado. And we've made a dent in the bottle.
What are you talking about? No, we haven't.
Might have been a slight sip. Might have been a slight sip.
We
will table these things until after the show. It's the first time I've seen you take a tequila shot, because you are always loath to drink tequila with me because you think that I drink like Montezuma or something like that. And I'm trying to offer you a thing of Don Julio Classic Reserve or something, and you turn your nose up and you say no. But until somebody brings you over a free bottle of something, then you'll partake, huh?
It is the one thing that makes me gag just by smelling it. For the most part, not the case with this Black Sheep tequila, though. I must say that's the first time in a long time that even the sight of tequila has not made me want to lurch.
I may just have to get the good Black Sheep tequila people involved at the install at this point, which I'm expecting an update on something exciting that we are working on for the install at some point, either today or tomorrow. And the plan is to
have Nico Iamaleava speak at the install live at the Hutton Hotel. I had to get
You think I can afford him?
I just can't know.
He may be looking to recoup some value.
I don't know what that bidding war looks like right now, but Tennessee's not in it. Might be starting pretty low. He might be up for business.
I think I might lowball Nico Iamaleava and see if I can't get a little Tennessee Vols breakdown from Nico.
I mean, where does it even start with him, right?
It starts at 2.4. What was he making last year? It starts at 2.4.
Reportedly 2.4.
Yeah,
right?
It starts there.
No, but does it have to? It doesn't have to.
It has to.
For them, it does. What about for Tulane, UCLA, and UNC? They're saying, oh, well, we're not bidding against Tennessee, though. They're not in this anymore.
There is no circumstance in which I think he is going to make less money from a Power 4 program this year. It's just like, it's like any contract negotiation. Are you trying to make less money the next time they try to renegotiate your contract? Oh, you don't have a contract. Do you have a contract?
That's for me to know. You don't not to worry about.
Well, certainly for anybody with a contract, you do not have a conversation that starts with a lower figure than you are currently making, as is typically the case. And even if you lose the negotiation and you end up making as much, and that is a loss for Nico Iamaleava if he was to make 2.4 again, or ballpark reportedly 2.4. again this year, then that is a loss of a negotiation. But I do not think that he is going to make less money wherever he goes.
Probably not. But, man, I'll tell you, Vol Twitter's going to do a victory lap if he's making as much.
2.5.
Or just barely marginally more.
We'll give you an extra $50 here, bud. Come on, play quarterback for the Tulane Green Wave. But Belichick is who I assumed was going to swoop in, and who it sounds like is swooping in, is closing in on the idea of Nico Iamaleava as the Tar Heels starting quarterback in 2025, though at least that's what the crystal ball at 247 is forecasting right now on a 100% chance. Is Bird allowed to smoke cigarettes out here? I don't think so, but we'll find out together.
Don't rat him out.
Don't flip me the bird, Kirby. I wasn't talking about. I wasn't ratting on you. Oh, okay. I want one. I want next after if we keep sampling this Black Sheep tequila throughout the course of the day. But what we are talking about, obviously, is the story of the year so far, anywhere in sports, I would argue, is Nico Iamaleava and the University of Tennessee parting ways after a failed contract negotiation on the side of the Iamaleava family tried to kind of pigeonhole the University of Tennessee. And Tennessee was not about that kind of business, or not about business that way. And it started a chain reaction to the extent of how coaches are messaging about this now that Josh Heupel has spoken on it. And Jackson, I'd like to hear from Josh Heupel on the idea of no one being bigger than the program at your convenience. You can let me know when you're ready, and we will go to that audio now.
We're moving forward as a program without him. I said it to the guys today. There's no one that's bigger than the Power T, and that includes me. And they hear me say that a lot inside of that team room. This program has been around for a long time with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players that came before that laid the cornerstone pieces, the legacy, the tradition that is Tennessee football. It's going to be around a long time after I'm done and after they're gone. And that's what's special about being here, is that there is a legacy and a tradition that is so rich. And then today's landscape of college football, it's different than what it has been. It's unfortunate, just the situation and where we're at with Nico. I want to thank him for everything that he's done since he's gotten here. That's as a recruit to who he was as a player, and how he competed inside of the building. And so a great appreciation for that side of it. Obviously, we're moving forward as a program without him. I said it to the guys today. There's no one that's bigger than the Power T, and that includes me. And they hear me say that a lot inside of that team room. This program has been around for a long time with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players that came before that laid the cornerstone pieces, the legacy, the tradition that is Tennessee football. It's going to be around a long time after I'm done and after they're gone.
So that's Josh Heupel speaking after the spring game about the Nico Iamaleava situation. So where do they turn? We've talked a great deal about who's not going to be playing quarterback for the Vols next year. What comes next, Lucas? Because Ramon talked at some length about what he saw at the spring game, obviously doing the broadcast for the Vol Network with Mike Keith and Jason Swain and the rest of the crew, Brent Hubbs. What is the expectation for you at quarterback? Because Josh Heupel has said that they definitely need to add a third quarterback through the portal, though it is not the expectation that they will add a starting quarterback through the portal.
Oh, I don't know that there's any baseline expectation one way or another. We'll see how it plays out. It depends who's available, too. Also, real quick, Josh Heupel is a guy who says a lot without saying anything. You know what I mean? And he does that intentionally in press conferences. Saturday, he was direct. He was cracking jokes. He was confident, almost fired up to move on and take the next step for the program. It was a monumental day for Heupel, at least at the podium. But, yeah, you obviously have Jake Merklinger in-house. You have George McIntyre in-house, both former four-star recruits. McIntyre from just down the road at Brentwood Academy. Merklinger has had a year in the system. He's had now 2 spring practices under his belt. For McIntyre, he was an early enrollee, but just finished his first spring practice. And, all reports, as they typically are, is that both quarterbacks looked really good. Merklinger's made a lot of strides. He's changed a lot about his mechanics. He's added weight, all the good stuff that you hear this time of year. Nobody comes out of a spring saying, I'll tell you, man, this kid had a terrible spring, just throwing picks every day. You don't typically hear that side of stuff. So everything has been positive so far on those two guys. They haven't played really in any games yet. Merklinger appeared in a couple last year when he was redshirting. The difficult thing is there's no high-profile quarterback that plans to enter the portal that we know of. And this could change their situation. Like, most of these moves happen in the winter. Carson Beck and Mensa going to Duke and Pribula from Penn State to Missouri. Like, the majority of these moves happen in the winter portal. And then in the spring portal, after spring practice, if you're going to go to a new team, it's just a tougher situation, right? You got to get integrated in the summer. You only have like 2 weeks of training camp to really practice and get the install before you start the season. So you look around at the rest of college football and you just start naming names. Could this attract a guy like Avery Johnson, former 4-star who stayed home to play for Kansas State and had a nice starting debut season last year for the Wildcats? Sam Leavitt, who helped lead Arizona State to the college football playoff. Like, these are just kind of some of the names that start rattling around in your head, and I assume there's been back channeling done by Tennessee. But I don't know if they're going to go with somebody in the program or if they're going to go try to make a big swing. A couple $1 million just freed up. They've got money, obviously. They've got a team that they feel good about, a team that feels like it's kind of coming together right now. And how many guys follow Nico to the portal might tell us a lot about what Nico's impact on this program was or wasn't.
Yes.
Right?
Because you assumed,
I did.
And rightfully so, that there would be a great level of attrition if he hit the portal. And, I mean, Mike Matthews is the only one that was considering it, like
in the winter.
Boot
Carter apparently was toying with it, saying, you better play me on offense. They said, we'll play you on offense. And they have been. But the first thing I thought of when that news broke Saturday morning was, all right, who else isn't going to be there today?
Yeah.
Is Mike Matthews going to be there? Is Boot Carter going to be there? Everybody was there, with the exception of Ricky Gibson, who's got his portal report thing going on, but apparently he was sick, and Tennessee's figured out his situation, and he's not going anywhere. He missed with illness. So, and that was VolQuest doing that reporting. So
if I told you to choose from the 2 on the roster and the field, who's most likely to start as we sit here today? Obviously, there's a million different things that will happen between Monday, April 14th, and August 30th when they play Syracuse. Who do you most expect to be the starting quarterback for the Vols?
I would take the field over the current 2 guys right now, just because, and if it's one of the 2 guys, Merklinger would be in the driver's seat. And who knows how they feel about Merklinger if they say, no, let's roll, let's go, and spend that money elsewhere and maybe coax Gaston Moore back over to be a backup again. I don't know, because he hit the portal last year. But this feels like an attractive situation, right, for a quarterback that's at, let's say, an Avery Johnson, for example, who I have no idea what the frame of mind is, if he's determined to stay home in Kansas where he's from or if he would want to go up a level and play in the SEC. The money's there. Money wouldn't be an issue for a guy like Avery Johnson to be making even close to $2 million, if that would be the figure. I don't know. But if you are able to go get a guy like that to come in, he'll step into a situation where the fan base is behind you immediately. We're riding with you. Like, you have an opportunity here to come over to Tennessee and be the guy that lifted Tennessee football after the way Nico betrayed the program, right? Like, thinking from a fan's perspective, fans would fall in love with that guy if he came over and helped this team find some success and played well in 2025. So I do think it's an attractive proposition for a guy that is looking to move up a level and has the talent.
So you'd rather have somebody, so you personally would rather have a starter, a portal starter to be named later than what is currently on your roster?
Yeah, I think so. And it's nothing against those guys, but Merklinger, first year in the system, McIntyre, first year in the system. Merklinger, we've not seen with any sort of real sample size. So, yes, give me an accomplished starter like an Avery Johnson if you have that option, and you will have the funds to do it. We'll see what happens. But he's got the chance, if that happens, to step into a spot where he's got instant backing from the fan base and the football team. Because hearing Miles Kitselman talk, Jackson, can we hear Miles Kitselman after the spring game on Saturday talking about this as one of the leaders of the team?
Really hung him out to dry there, didn't
It's really just strong words from Kitselman. Just really makes you think. Maybe we'll play it next.
That's on you. All right. Why don't we give Jackson a moment and we will play that audio? No, we're going to play it coming up next. And nobody can hear Jackson saying, no, I've got it. We'll play it now. No, we're going to do it coming up next. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. I'm not going to lie. I just cheated on Hattie B's. They have a delightful grilled chicken sandwich here at the Governor's Club that Lee, the Governor's Club clubhouse chef, just offered us. He also offered to cook me a filet, Lucas, and I may take him up on that before we leave today.
Don't do that.
Why?
Don't make that man cook you a filet.
He offered.
He's trying to be nice.
Sure. But if I take advantage of his kindness, that's not on me.
I feel like it's an unspoken thing where it's like, hey, you say the word, I'll get back there and cook a filet for you, but do it.
Yeah.
I want one.
I'm in my element. I'm at a country club, okay? I belong in places like this. If you think that I'm not the person to take advantage of that, yes, actually, I would like mine medium rare. Then you are barking up the wrong tree, my friend. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to get involved. So the Nico Iamaleava story has dominated everything because it should. It is the biggest story in sports right now. That it's superseded the NBA playoffs. It's superseded the NHL playoffs. It's superseded, maybe not the Masters.
Masters got its attention.
Masters deservedly got its attention. The craziness with Rory McIlroy yesterday from start to finish that ended in a playoff hole against Justin Rose, a full emotional ride en route to him achieving golf immortality. So credit to Rory. Did you see the way that he opened his press conference? In fact, I think you might have because you sent it to the group.
I did, but what I want to play, though, is just him talking about what he had a kind of a funny quip about
Rory?
What we're going to talk about next year. Yeah, Jackson, can we hear from Rory McIlroy?
I'd like to start this press conference with a question myself. What are we all going to talk about next year? It's a dream come true. I've dreamt about that moment for as long as I can remember. Watching Tiger here in 1997 do what he did and winning his first green jacket, I think that inspired so many of my generation to want to emulate what he did. And there were points in my career where I didn't know if I would have this nice garment over my shoulders, but I didn't make it easy today. I certainly didn't make it easy. I was nervous. It was one of the toughest days I've ever had on the golf course. I've literally made my dreams come true today, and I would say to every boy and girl listening to this that believe in your dreams, and if you work hard enough and you put the effort in, that you can achieve anything you want.
You hear that, Bert? Believe in your dreams.
What is your dream, Robert? He has no microphone. This is my favorite version of Robert. I sent him to the shadows, and now he can't come back. This is delightful.
He just shrugged.
which sounds about right, based on the summary of aspiration there. I love Rory having that moment. I was rooting for him, even though I bet against him. I fully expected the collapse, and I almost got it. I almost got it a couple of times. Because Rory McIlroy has been battling these demons for quite some time, and this with the career Grand Slam on the line felt like all the pressure in the world was on him. Robert, do you want to tell us your life goals?
My dream would be to take over the Split Happens bowling event, and it would be Bert's Bowling Bash.
Many people have come up to me asking about the bowling event, and I feel
you have been non-committal about hosting it, by the way. Buck does not like the Buck Bowling Bash alliteration.
I have not been non-committal about it. What, Kirby?
Because he's never going to have another birthday again, so we're not allowed to do that.
Why?
Because you don't age.
Because the Botox?
What are you going to do with the tariffs? Are you going to be able to afford that stuff now?
Yeah, we're doing just fine. Don't you worry about me.
Welcome to Buck's third annual birthday.
I thought Kirby was issuing a threat there for a second.
Oh, yeah. No. the next time we go to the combine together, I just don't come back.
Because that birthday was his last.
That sounds about right. If I was Kirby, I would also think about issuing threats in my direction. But I would like to get back to the bowling event at some point in time. I understand that we had done that during a summer event. I understand that there was a considerable strain on the promotions department, given that we have a great many events during the summer. But I think we bring the bowling event back. Maybe not this summer, because the planning is not necessarily in line with it. For Rory, though, awesome moment. I don't know how many people. Surely most people were rooting for Rory. Did you see the shots of his home club back in Ireland celebrating I don't even know what would bring that level of celebration other than a moment like that for a person who's been working so hard for so long to achieve at that level. Awesome day for Rory McIlroy, even though it probably aged him 10 years just going even into that playoff hole with Justin Rose. And Justin Rose gave it everything. He was leading for the first 2 days of the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Day and a half, Kirby reminds me, of the tournament, and then, experienced some setbacks. Bryson DeChambeau came on strong and then cratered on Sunday, and Rory McIlroy had moments of his own. But for Rory to finish strong that way was awesome. Now, we had some audio that we were going to play going back to the University of Tennessee and the Vols. Jackson, at your convenience, Lucas, if you want to set that audio up again as we continue to talk about this Nico Iamaleava story as the Vols part way with their starting quarterback who took them to the college football playoff last year.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a leadership void with this team with Dylan Sampson and Brew McCoy and Cooper Mays and so many players that moved on to the NFL draft. And Nico was a guy that was working on trying to fill that void. Obviously, he's gone. So one of the players that very much is a part of that leadership group on offense is tight end Miles Kitselman. And I don't want to say he was emotional in the way that he talked, but you could see it in his face, right? Clearly was affected, was motivated, propelled by this, however you want to put it. And this was Miles Kitselman talking about the vibe on the practice field Friday when they realized Nico was not there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to talk to some of the guys on the team about how they felt about it, and just make sure that we're all on the same page. Talk to a couple other leaders on the team and making sure that we're all on the same page. But man, I loved walking out on practice on Friday, and I kind of just gaze around and see if anybody's freaking out or gossiping over in the corner. And nobody skipped a beat, and I love seeing that. It's plug and play. But yeah, I mean, I knew something needed to be said. There's a lot of times in our lives where we know that something needs to be said, and it's our duty as leaders to speak up and lead your team in the right direction. Make sure that everybody's on the same page.
So that's Miles Kitselman, the Tennessee tight end, speaking, and he had a bunch of quotes like that, right? There was the quote, him saying, I've been on some really good teams with a bunch of individuals, and talking about how this team has come together with kind of that selflessness. So, just sort of some unspoken messaging from the players that spoke, including Merklinger and
unspoken
McIntyre.
Messaging from players who spoke.
Yes, that's right. And words are my job.
It is going to be, I think we really find out about Josh Heupel this year. Don't you? This is a galvanizing moment for him.
Yeah.
He took advantage. He killed it. Tennessee makes the decision that they make to put their foot down on the Nico Iamaleava renegotiation. I have been waiting for defining moments of Josh Heupel's career as we try and figure out, are you the right person to bring this program back? Really back to the level of expectation that Vols fans not just require, I guess require and demand are the same thing, but that they require and that they demand, because this is a program that's steeped in history, has national championship expectations, has been removed from it against their will for, as we talked about earlier, since the heel turn of Lane Kiffin. It feels like that they've been trying to claw and scratch their way back. And even if they don't, I don't know, Lucas, how do you feel about them right now with starting quarterback uncertainty and the idea of a college football playoff appearance? Our expectation was for them to build upon that, and it would have been a success if they got back to the college football playoff. And I think a lot of people would have looked at, all right, if you take a step, you win a college football playoff game instead of getting decapitated at the hands of a real college football playoff contender, right?
Yeah.
So for me, though, the Nico thing does alter expectations no matter whom they land in the portal. If they find a way back to 10 wins with uncertainty at the quarterback situation, I will have a great deal of faith in Josh Heupel as the correct person to move this thing forward. That doesn't mean that they make the college football playoff, by the way. But a 10-win season on the heels of everything that's going on with them right now, and I know it's, we've got several months until August and they kick off, and And a bunch of different things that could happen that would make that seem, you're setting the bar so low. 10 wins again? What do you mean? We were in the college football playoff last year. We expect to elevate. This is different. This is a very unique set of circumstances. And now it's a different set of challenges for Josh Heupel, and how he shepherds them through this next phase, this next challenge is going to be very telling for him and for Vols fans, how they feel about him as the person not running their program but overseeing it.
Yeah, Brandon on the F&M Bank chat says expectations should be lowered, but there's still too much unknown. Hell, there was a lot of unknown with him. And that's the conversation we were having before any of this came down was, okay, yeah, Tennessee could take another step with Nico in 25, but in order to do that, Nico has to be a star, has to be the guy you thought you were getting when you paid that NIL money to get the 5-star from California. So that was a big if. Nico was good last year. Wasn't bad, wasn't great, was really good in moments. The second half against Alabama was really bad in moments. In the first half against Arkansas and missing open receivers in the first half against Bama. And in that Florida game where they were scoreless again in the first half. Hell, the last play of the Arkansas game, right? Running out of bounds with zeros on the clock. It leveled off after that midseason struggle point, and I think he did get better as the late season went on. And 19 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. It was a perfectly normal season for a 20-year-old quarterback making his first first season as a starter in his career. But that's not what you thought you were getting. You thought you were getting the 5-star phenomenon, and that's what he needed to be in 2025 for Tennessee truly to take that jump. So now it's just an even bigger question mark than it was before. I like how Brandon worded that. There's just too much unknown to be able to lay expectations right now on what this season's going to be. When fall camp rolls around and we have a better idea of the quarterback room and we see if Tennessee maybe added a receiver and we know some other school situations around the SEC, maybe we can have a better idea to formulate a baseline expectation. Because to be honest, right now, I didn't know what it was before, and I sure as hell don't know what the baseline expectation needs to be in 2025 at this point. I just know what Heupel's floor has kind of been, and it feels like he has gotten the program to a point where the floor is that 8-4 range. And we'll see if they can surpass that this year. There's a lot of moves that still need to be made.
How will you feel if they go 8-4? Well, again, the context on how they get there matters so much.
Yeah, so much context.
But 8-4, that's a steep drop.
It is, yeah. And if you were to go 8-4 with Nico, it would be a huge disappointment.
Oh my God!
So
you'd run him out of town no matter how much money he was asking for.
I mean, it's like if you go 8-4 with Jake Merklinger, then it's probably because Merklinger played a little bit better than you thought he was capable of, and Heupel gets some grace because his 5-star quarterback left them high and dry right at the end of spring practice. Obviously, the context of what Nico does at his next stop is important. But again, I don't think Tennessee fans are going to rewrite the history on how they feel about this moment, on, we should have done it differently. I think they'll be very convicted on how Tennessee has handled this, no matter what Nico does at his next stop. And if Nico goes to North Carolina, for instance, and takes off, has a huge year, I mean, credit to him, but that's hard to do. It's hard to go to a program that's already undergoing so much change. And I know it's Bill Belichick, but still a first-year coach. They've shipped out that roster. They're adding so many parts and pieces in the portal. It's a hard thing to get that turned around in 1 year and have your quarterback be a star. It is a weak conference, much to the chagrin of ACC truther Robert Walsh. But the context is very important to know what will constitute failure or success for Tennessee next year.
Would you like to hear a quote from a coach who's in said weak conference?
Yes.
Because this is going to have a ripple effect across college football and college athletics just generally. I know basketball is obviously different. There's much more value assigned to one player in basketball than there is in football, but we're talking about a quarterback here. So it's as close to a apples to apples comparison as you're going to get. Let's hear from Mario Cristobal, who, after Josh Heupel made the comments that he did, was very quick to get out there in front of cameras and microphones and echo his support.
We're not going to do that at Miami. And I say that without any hesitation. If anyone's thinking that, then they could be the best player in the world. If they want to play holdout, they might as well play get out. We don't want to do that. We don't want Miami to become that. Too many guys have sweated, bled, have laid on the line on that field to ever become that kind of a program.
So that's Mario Cristobal. If they want to play a holdout, they can play get out. Tough talk from the coach to do it second, right? And to accept a transfer quarterback and pay one of these transfer quarterbacks after Georgia did not. Now, this is a different kind of situation. The Carson Beck circumstance did not have the inflammatory elements.
But he's probably going to pay on the contract he was given.
Yes.
Or play on the contract he was given, which is what Tennessee expected of Nico Iamaleava.
615-737-1045 is the number. If you would like to get involved, we would be happy to have you as we broadcast live from the Governor's Club here in beautiful Brentwood, Tennessee for the Fund Recovery Golf Event presented by Pella Windows. Fundrecovery.org is how you can get involved. I am so curious to see how Belichick handles this, right? This is the first true test because Belichick, no stranger to drama or mercenary type approaches or contract negotiations. And I'm certain that he would, if he was to take Nico in, as there is some level of expectation that they were at least going to pursue Nico, right? There's no guarantee that he's going to sign there. I know transfer portal doesn't open until Wednesday, technically, right?
Yes, players can submit paperwork now,
right?
But technically Wednesday is when it officially opens. It's a 10-day period.
Is this like your version of legal tampering? Yeah,
we might as well.
I told you, baby, I'm in my element. Yeah. I've never felt more at home in the world of college football since they started paying these kids because now it feels more like professional. It is professional football, but you understand my meaning. So I want to know. I want to see how Belichick is going to play this because certainly it could benefit them. And I want to see how Nico's dad handles this and the people around Nico and how much that impacts the varying degrees. I mean, does it feel like he's going to his next college football program as as a pariah almost for how this went down?
Sure. I mean, again, I can't wait to see where he lands and what the number is because the market on him individually has reset. We can say the market is $4 million because Beck is making close to that, and that's the hill that Nico's side stood on. Pay us that or we're not playing for you. But now Tennessee is out of the picture. They're not going to Tennessee going, hey, UCLA's offering us 3.9. You better match that. Tennessee's out of the picture. So who can they go to now and say so-and-so is offering us this? Because if you're Tulane, UCLA, UNC, the schools that Pete Nakos referenced, then you know that, right? You know that. Okay, it's not like that's the baseline. Oh, we got to pay $4 million to get this guy. Call him up, offer him $1 million, and then they go to UCLA. Say they offered us $1 million. Will you give us 1.5? Yeah, we'll give you 1.5. UNC says, all right, we'll give you 2. UCLA and Tulane says, no, we're not going to do 2. And then he ends up making less money than it. I'm just saying it's not as impossible as. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the market on him individually totally resets with Tennessee out of the bidding.
There's just too many college football programs out there, Division I college football programs, with the kind of resources to compensate him the way that he wants to be compensated for me to think that he won't at least get closer to that 4 than he would 2.4.
But so many of those are out of the picture.
Yeah, I've drawn the line in the sand already.
Said, no, we're good. Texas Tech is rolling with Baron Mortons. No, we want Baron, not Nico.
Who?
So I'm just saying, I don't know that the market on him will be as robust. If it is, more power to him, and that's what they're in it for, and that's what they'll get. But we'll see, man.
615-737-1045 is the number. It's the last call for phone call. Show went flying by. Maybe it's because the Sucker Punch, the wonderful people at Sucker Punch brought us over Bloody Marys at this point in time. So time is just, slipping through our fingers as we get ready to wrap up the show. We'll turn things over to Blaine and Zach, but not before we take your last call for phone calls and update the polls. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Two Rivers Ford is now offering you employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. You know that Two Rivers Ford goes above and beyond no matter what the circumstance is. But right now they are offering you the best possible price on your new 2025 Ford vehicle, whether it be an F-150, a Ford Bronco, an Explorer like iDrive, or so many other options that they have in place for you. Two Rivers Ford has been operating with honesty and integrity for over 40 years, and this year is no different. They won't try and tack on a bunch of extras to jack up the price on their vehicles. They always are upfront in the way that they do business, and their sales staff operates on no commission, which means that you feel zero pressure on you throughout the car buying process because they're making a paycheck whether they sell you a car or not. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. 615-737-1045. Thank you so much to the people at the Governor's Club, including Lee, who's been taking care of us throughout the course of the day, and Julie over at Sucker Punch, who's been hooking us up here. We've had a great day surrounded by wonderful people who have brought us all manner of things, and now they're all our friends. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where we are live streaming the show for the final segment. Then we'll turn things over to Blaine and Zach, who are going to have, or expected to have Steve Atwater on today. They are hitting the course for Fund Recovery, fundrecovery.org. is where you go. Delaney Walker, I know, and Jeff Simmons were on the morning show, and so many athletes coming together to raise money for such a great cause, and we're happy to be a small part of it today. Fundrecovery.org, like I mentioned, is how you can learn more about this great cause and donate if you are financially able to do so. Anything helps as we try to help people who have dealt with opioid addiction, especially in this part of the country and in this state. It is such a terrible thing that people go through, and people whose families are affected by opioid addiction. Anything that you can do to help is greatly appreciated. So are you Volled out? I don't think we've ever done just 3 hours of straight Vols.
Did some Masters mixed in.
There was like 5 minutes of Masters, maybe 5 minutes of Masters, which is just a total disservice to Rory McIlroy for his triumph at Augusta yesterday after nearly failing at Augusta yesterday. But
the Masters were like a NASCAR race. Like, you thought it was just going to be Rory and DeChambeau down the stretch. Final pairing. Let's lock in, right? Sunday morning, you're making your coffee. You're excited about it. And it is just Rory and Bryson down the stretch. And then Bryson crashes out, hitting a wall. And then here comes Auberg and Justin Rose. And now Rose has taken the lead. And Rory is able to overtake Rose. And suddenly they're neck and neck for just a photo finish in a playoff. It was electric, man. Just the twists and turns through 18 holes.
I thought when you meant by NASCAR race, you meant something I would fall asleep on a Sunday watching. But I'm the only one, apparently.
You're not one of these people that thinks the golf and the Masters is overrated, are you?
I wouldn't say overrated. I would say properly rated. It's just not something that I get into.
I think it's properly rated.
You didn't watch any of it yesterday?
None. I've watched none the entire week. Yeah, that was my vacation, was watching everyone else say, "Oh, look at this golf! Wasn't this golf so good?" And I was like, "Have you guys seen the new Pokemon cards?"
Well, if people felt we were underrepresented in terms of our interest on this radio show, Robert Walsh is here to be your man. 615-737-1045. Last call for phone calls. If you got them, I am hoping that Bill Belichick lands Nico Iamaleava. I would love to see Bill Belichick be the person who capitalizes on this situation. Doesn't mean it'll work, by the way. That's for all the Belichick thing is fascinating for so many reasons. But if he compounds it further by taking this college football pariah on, making him his starting quarterback, and they have success, can you imagine? Can you imagine the dialogue that will be there? Because we had posed the question earlier, what happens if Nico plays well wherever he goes? Will there be some level of division in the fan base? And you've talked at great length, and rightfully so, about how Vols fans unite and rally the troops around their program, around Josh Heupel, especially when he's been doing or leading with the messaging that he has been, correctly so. And I thought that they handled, as I said, the situation to the best of their abilities. We felt like that Tennessee was in a no-win situation, and maybe they still are. Like, this is still pending the results. It's April the 14th, so there's a million different things that could happen between now and, when we're getting the final iteration of the college football playoff rankings and things like that to determine whether this was a success or a failure for both sides. But the only way to make this a bigger story is for Belichick to be the one to take him on.
How about a Music City Bowl matchup? Tennessee, UNC,
no.
Nico and Bill.
If you end up in the Music City Bowl this year, you're going to be pissed.
Yeah, then we got other
You're going to be pissed.
You know what sucks about this? Like, Tennessee's got Faison Brandon committed for the 2026 class. And this isn't just for Tennessee. This is for any fan base in the country. In this current state of college football, it makes it to where it's hard, man, to even get up to be excited about a 5-star quarterback committing to your program. Because it's great. All right, we got a 5-star quarterback. Awesome. We just signed a 3-year battle to keep this guy on campus. Whether he's good or not, whether he meets, surpasses expectations or not, we have probably just signed up for just a 3-year battle with 2 negotiating periods per year just to keep him on our football team. And that sucks. Like, that takes a lot of the wind out of your sails, right, in recruiting, which is the lifeblood of your program. So, we keep beating the dead horse on it. Something's got to change, though. Something's got to change on this just schedule format.
It's not that hard, though, Lucas. All you need is a CBA. Like, that's all that has to happen here. All you need is CBAs, a collective bargaining agreement. all you need is to become professional football. You just have to let yourself become professional football. I know you don't want it. I know college football fans don't want it, but it is such a turnkey solution.
Yeah, but it like in this state, it makes you just want your program to just, all right, go find your, Rick Barnes has been doing it with, he found his Dalton Connect, and then he found his Chaz Lanier, right? Hendon Hooker was a transfer. Just go get the guy that will come over here for his last year of eligibility. You don't have to worry about the next 2 years of fighting, scrapping, just to keep him on your roster and just carry on that way. The way Ohio State did with Will Howard last year, right? The way Miami did with Cam Ward last year. The way Miami's going to try to do with Carson Beck this year. And then that leaves room for so much volatility, right? Because teams that primarily build through the portal, yeah, it can hit. It can also just absolutely crater the way we saw with Florida State last year.
That should have been the headline, volatility.
If we were good.
The exciting thing for UNC would be if you bring Nico in, no longer is Bill Belichick's girlfriend the circus act that she is. Now you can worry about Nico's father, the circus act around Nico.
She's not the circus act. He's out here doing beach yoga. He's the circus act. He's a dirty old man, perving on the 24-year-old. What do you mean?
Perving. He's accomplishing every young man's dream if they could be that age and have a woman that beautiful. You saw her at the spring game. Everyone was debating over her outfit. Should she have been wearing that? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I did not see that. I'm not in the same Twitter circles that you are. Clearly.
No one's worried about
Stop talking about this. It's going to affect my algorithm.
Nobody is worried about what Bill is wearing. They need to be worried about what Nico is going to wear when he becomes the Tar Heels starting quarterback.
Let's do some polls before the show really gets off the rails.
Very nice. La 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 la.
I have one. I don't need two.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. What is the biggest heel turn in Tennessee football history? So majority of votes are saying Kiffin. 56.9% say Lane Kiffin. 34.3% are saying Nico. Only 6.1% said Henry To'oTo'o. And only 2.7% said Jalen Hurd.
That feels appropriate.
Will Nico Iamaleava make $4 million somewhere else in 2025? 79.7% of the audience say no, he won't.
I agree with not $4 million, but I bet he makes more than he was at Tennessee. How big that fraction
we'll see.
Remains to be seen.
Who is more responsible to you for the situation, Nico or his dad? 66.2% said his dad.
It should be way higher than 66.2%. Again, I understand the blind rage and the fomentation of everything that's gone on around Nico Iamaleava. I get it, Vols fans, but it's impossible for me to sit here and yell at them and say it's not on him. But it's not on him. It's on the people around him that botched this.
Yeah, and I think most people, Vols fans or otherwise, that have paid attention to the situation understand that. But he's the face of it, right?
Yeah.
In every article, in every headline on TV.
Every transfer portal graphic, all of it.
It ain't Nick Iamaleava's profile picture on Twitter getting tossed up there.
It should be.
Agreed. Bubba on the FNM Bank chat says maybe baby Mahomes Dylan Raiola comes over to Tennessee.
I don't want you to have that. I don't want anything to do with that. This Mahomes cosplaying. Did he cut his hair like Pat did? I saw Pat got a haircut at that Lakers.
I hope so. I hope he's following it step by step.
He was literally in their locker room.
Yes,
he was
amazing.
in the Chiefs locker room, and some of the Chiefs players are pointing out, "No, that's not Pat. Gotcha."
The best part is he just denies it. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's so weird. Just say you're a Patrick Mahomes fan. Yelling at a college kid.
What was the better Masters Sunday? 2019, of course, Tiger winning in dramatic fashion, or 2025? What we saw yesterday, it's close. 52.2% are going with yesterday's action.
It's recency bias. It's Tiger in 19. Ooh. It's Tiger, and it's always Tiger.
I think
it's always Tiger.
The final moments, I think, goes to Tiger just from start to finish, just the ups and downs of the day. I don't know. I think I'm going with yesterday.
Rory's final round was exhausting, but Tiger doing it in 19 for the last time, especially after everything that he's gone through before and since, it's Tiger. Yeah. There's no debate.
I mean, definitely two of the most emotional final moments on the 18th hole in the history of the Masters. So Rory McIlroy doing something that only 6 other male golfers have done, and no one's done it since Tiger in 2000. Those are the polls.
Those are the polls. That's the show. Thanks to everybody who helped put this thing together. Bert, Kirby, and everybody in between. Everybody at the Governor's Club and everybody at Fund Recovery who's made this awesome event possible. Fundrecovery.org for more information. See you on Primetime tonight.